how even you are with run and pass.
The Patriots are in town today. Tua says Pats head coach Mike Vrabel seems to have his number, but hey, that's fixable too.
Vrabel has, we've played against them and we never beat, their team. So coming into this week, we know what's at stake. I mean, he got his guys coached up really well, and that's an opportunity for us this Sunday.
It's the home opener for the Dolphins. Is it a must-win? Well, for some, it might be. Let's get going on this one. Tons to talk about. Time for Gameday Uncensored, the pregame show for real Miami football fans. Tobin, Solana, with Omar Kelly on FM 104.3 WQAM, Miami sports leader.
Gameday Uncensored on FM 104.3 WQAM is brought to you by the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Get offers on select models now through September 2nd. Learn more at Lexus.com. By Edmore Sawgrass Buick GMC. Catch massive savings on over 22 acres of new Buick and GMCs at Edmore Sawgrass Buick GMC. Get backed by Morse and visit EdmoreSawgrassBuickGMC.com. And by JM Lexus. JM Lexus has the best team in the business. A 4.8 Google rating with over 22,000 reviews and counting. JM Lexus, West Sample Road, Margate.
It is game day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in to Gameday Uncensored. Apologies for starting just a little bit late, but Miami Dolphins football is back today. The home opener is today. I know a lot of you are probably headed out to the tailgate. You might already be at today's tailgate. And luckily, the weather right now is good. No rain, and I hope it stays that way. You got the lightning delay yesterday during the USF game. I hope that field holds up. But we know Stephen Rossi has his own grass farm, so it should all work out today. And more than anything, I see somebody wrote to us on our chat, good vibes for the Miami Dolphins today, and I'm with you, man. I am with you. What a tough way to open up the season. We're going to get into all of it today. And you heard the big voice, the big NFL voice to start Game Day Uncensored, our big open with NFL voice, which was the Dolphins are the talk of the NFL nationally. Everybody has an opinion on the Miami Dolphins right now. Everybody has an opinion on Tua Tagovailoa after week one. Everybody has an opinion on Mike McDaniel and Chris Grier after week one. And today's their opportunity to go out there and prove everybody that, hey, overreaction Monday after the first game of the NFL season, and everybody got duped by just maybe the worst performance the Dolphins have had as a team in a very, very long time. You lose to Indy, you make Daniel Jones look like prime Peyton Manning, but you've still got your divisional games all in order following that, and an opportunity here for the Dolphins to get back to 1-1. And then we focus on Buffalo. Then you focus on, only having 4 days off before you have to go Thursday night, prime time, on the road against Josh Allen. I mean, what could go wrong? But we'll get into all of it today. We'll talk about that loss to the Colts a little bit. Waiting on Brendan Tobin to join us. He's caught up. He'll be with us in a second. Brittany producing for us today as well. And yeah, I mean, a lot of storylines going into today's game. I'll start really quickly here with some unfortunate news that we found out yesterday. Austin Jackson headed to the IR for the Miami Dolphins. I mean, there's going to be some crucial injuries today against the New England Patriots, both for the Miami Dolphins, obviously. James Daniels injured last week, and now Austin Jackson heading to the IR. I mean, one game is all it took. Tobin and I were texting each other yesterday, and, just kind of funny when you think about the idea that we had a conversation last week, setting a line. How many games will the offensive line play together? What's a good over-under to put that at? And Tobin went with, I think his answer was 14 games or 12 games. It was in the tens. And, I mean, you don't even get half a game because James Daniels goes down. And then Austin Jackson straight to IR after the first week. So, it's going to be Keon Smith likely. It's going to be Larry Borum. We'll find out. But Tua's blindside immediately altered after the first game. And, we'll just putting a bow on the Colts game. I don't want to spend too much time on the loss of the Colts because, everybody has said what they needed to say, right? Everybody has been able to discuss that game since halftime. Nobody played well. Tua Tagovailoa, probably the worst we've seen him look since Christmas Day back in 2022 or 2023. 2022 against the Green Bay Packers when he was literally concussed. The offensive line, not great. You couldn't establish a run game. We know that because you were down early. The defense literally got scored on every single possession. It was a disaster. And ultimately, I think most people would agree, the Miami Dolphins did not look like they were ready to play football. And it was a big game. It was a game with high expectations. It was a game with a lot riding on it going into that opener last Sunday. Mike McDaniel almost needing to show that a full offseason's worth of work was going to come to fruition on the field. And instead, what you got was a team that not only lacked execution, that not only lost and got blown out, that not only made a mid-quarterback look like a Hall of Famer, but was a team that just clearly lacked preparation, clearly lacked focus, clearly lacked the ability to go beat another mediocre team. That is what was concerning. That is what made everybody, I think, have this reaction of what is going on in Miami. So the Dolphins today get to right the ship. They're at home. You got the whiteout at Hard Rock Stadium. And you hope that you can overcome those injuries, that you can overcome not having your right tackle available, not having your right guard available. And you can overcome the fact that, everybody's had this opinion on Tyreek Hill and everybody's had this opinion on Tua Tagovailoa of whether or not he's washed. It's going to be interesting, ladies and gentlemen. Today is going to be very interesting. Just an opportunity for Mike McDaniel and Tua, and I'll throw Anthony Weaver into the bunch too. I mean, these guys have to be able to look competent today, right? Like this is I think the baseline of what we're looking for. Look competent today. That should be enough to beat the New England Patriots. Look competent. And look, Tua today, he's going up against Drake May. This can't be another stinker for him. It just can't. We all know the stats of his last 15 starts. We all know what it looks like since that game against Tennessee back in 2023. I mean, it all kind of boiled up to first drive, interception, second drive, fumble, another interception later in the game. It just was not at all a performance where you can take any positive away from that game against Indianapolis. And it has to be corrected today. Mike McDaniel has to prove that, hey, I can come back from a loss like that. No matter what I said in the media, none of it inspiring, by the way, following that loss. And I can rally the troops. And yeah, we got the players only meeting. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but we got the players only meeting. And after week one, that's never a good sign. But at the very least, I think the Dolphins understood within that facility in Miami Gardens, the Miami Dolphins, at the very least, right? We can all say they understood the dire situation, which was, hey, week one and we look like that. It's got to get turned around. Game Day Uncensored is brought to you by the Lexus TX. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer. We're going to talk with Omar Kelly later today. Again, Brendan Tobin will join us here. Brittany producing. It's Game Day Uncensored. It's the Miami Dolphins. Week 2 versus the New England Patriots coming up. Talk a little bit more about that loss to the Colts, just kind of put a bow on it. We'll hear from Tua Tagovailoa on what the Miami Dolphins need to be able to do to spark that offense. And obviously, we've had a couple former Dolphins call out the team. That did not stop when Xavier Howard was able to not only make an impact play, but then get in front of a microphone after the game and talk about facing his former team. A lot to get to on Game Day Uncensored. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are just at the very bottom of the barrel in terms of hope for this team's favorite today, okay? They're favored at home. Have a little bit of faith that if you're looking for it, that they can go out there and at the very least get back to playing a level of football where they can beat Drake May, the New England Patriots. I don't think it's too much to ask for. We'll talk about it. Game Day Uncensored continues. We roll on here bright and early, heading up to a 1 p.m. kickoff. It's the home opener, Dolphins, Patriots. More Game Day Uncensored next.
WQAM broadcasting live.
Time now for more Game Day Uncensored, the pregame show for real Miami football fans on FM 104.3 WQAM.
I decided to honor the Dolphins Solana by not showing up in the first segment. That's how I worked it.
Perfect. You still played better than Tua, I promise.
Oh my God, that was so embarrassing. I apologize, everybody. I was up till 4 a.m. watching boxing.
I figured, chat figured too. Like, it's all good.
It was
bro.
so good last night, Solana. It was so good. I'm like, wow, that's a professional first for me. I apologize, everybody.
I played it off like you were just running a little bit late, so you're kind of you're doing the McDaniel. You're just throwing yourself under the bus.
Oh, hey, listen, I'm all about accountability. I'm not like these bums. I'm telling you right now.
It's all good, man.
You guys...
all you missed was me just going into very very positive things like Austin Jackson to IR, James Daniels down, Storm Duck down.
It's not like you had the most embarrassing Dolphins game this side of well, I guess this year. I mean, they always seem like they got one of these every single time.
No, but Tobin, let's just jump right into it. That's the worst loss of the McDaniel era. No, I'm talking about how you feel when you think about implications. When you think about implications, for sure it's not, because the Dolphins, that Tennessee loss, that'll live in infamy. But I'm just talking about the way you feel, because if you think about it, that Tennessee loss at the time, it was a miserable feeling. You blew that lead, but you still felt like, hey, things are exciting. You'll bounce back, right? Like, you'll bounce back, no big deal. And then, the loss to Buffalo to blow the division still came a couple games later. The Baltimore loss, you felt miserable. Like, the Tennessee loss, in hindsight, for sure, what it means to the organization, to this era of Dolphins football, is the worst loss. But I'm talking about how you feel. 2024 happens. That Buffalo game, we put so much into it, and you just fell flat in your face, and Tua goes down. And then you have this whole season where things don't go your way. Tua's missing games. You're fighting from behind the whole time. Everything needed to be fixed over the offseason, and we put a lot of stock into how's McDaniel going to have his team ready? How are they going to look? How is his secondary going to look? How is his offensive line going to hold up? Everything has to be saved this season. It's like all or nothing, make or break season. And you come out and you put on the worst display ever. And that's how you look, really? And every question we had about this team, none of it was answered in a positive way. It was answered the wrong way. So, man, that to me was the worst loss. It's up there of the Miami Dolphins in this century. I mean, it was bad, but my point in the first segment was, this is their opportunity. This feels like their only opportunity to right the ship here today against New England.
Yeah, because it feels like if you lose today, you're for sure going to lose on Thursday. I mean, they're probably going to lose on Thursday no matter what.
Right.
Why even play pretend on how we're going to feel? I feel like last year with the Bills is worse just simply because you had the Tua thing, and it felt basically like the season was over no matter what, because you knew he was going to be out for a while. But it is still the Bills. So if you're going to just go by who it happened to and everything that went into it, like Daniel Jones completely carving them up, just the turnovers, how bad I do think it was Tua's worst game. I mean, I think that was for sure. That's the worst game I think I've ever seen him play, probably since the
Christmas
Tennessee game.
Tennessee Christmas against, I had mentioned Christmas against Green Bay. Yeah, I mean, just nothing went right from nothing.
Yeah, the crazy thing with the Christmas game, though, is how good he started. I mean, we all learned afterwards he did get concussed, but that was crazy. Like, Tua comes out in that Christmas game, and he was balling out. This one, dude, it was just depressing. Like, we sat here at like a couple of dopes. Like, I cannot wait for football. Football is back. It's supposed to be a holiday. We're all supposed to be we're looking forward to this. And this is, I guess, become a tradition to ruin holidays, whether it be Thanksgiving, Christmas, or now the first start of football. But yeah, I came into this like, oh, this is gonna be awesome. We are gonna be excited. Football is back, and I got zero time to enjoy that game, Solana. It was so embarrassing.
No, literally, there wasn't a moment where you're like, oh, okay. There was one Devon Achane run on the first drive. We're like, oh, okay. All right. Achane's back. He's healthy. Let's go. Achane. And then boom. Interception. Yep. You're down. Tobin, that Christmas Day game for sure was depressing, but I'll just say this, we start the segment last week, at least at me, hey, it's week 1. Like, let's go. Let's forget about our like preconceived notions about this team. Like, it's week 1. I want to feel that way today. I want to feel that way where I said it was so bad. It was just so bad that can't be indicative of what we're going to get. Like, as bad, even if you're the biggest Dolphins criticism skeptic, even if you are, right? You're over, there's a lot of these people, and I'm not saying you're wrong to feel this way. You're over Chris Greer. You think he should be canned. You're over McDaniel. You think he should be canned. There's a lot of people who just feel like Tua's never going to be a great quarterback. They're just over this core, this regime. They're over it. I think even those people would agree. That was on another level of bad. I don't think that the Dolphins are that. I genuinely don't. And that's what I'm hoping we see today against New England. I don't think they're capable of beating the Bills. I don't think they're capable of beating those teams, the Ravens, the Bills, the Chiefs. I don't think they're on that level. But I do think they're on the level, like I told you last week, Tobin, where they're going to lose some games they probably should win, and they'll compete in some games that we didn't think they could, because that's what good to mediocre teams do. They beat up on bad teams, and I think that's the level they have to, at the very least, show us they can get back to today. So that's, and again, I'm not saying this like we're going to the Super Bowl, but at the very least, like, be respectable today, man. Be respectable.
Hey, 100%. But the thing that's sad about it, Solana, and this is the thing, that was kind of the McDaniel blueprint. So much of the good was built up on beating bad to mediocre teams, especially at home. Like, that was his playpen. And it's funny you mentioned the Titans game. It's kind of like where that all just went up in smoke, because like Monday Night Football, it's like, oh, you lose this game. They lost to him back-to-back years. They lost to Mason Rudolph last year.
Oh.
And it just feels like, just like and we'll get into the things about like the explosive plays, but just like the explosive plays, there's just this slow erosion of this team that has been very noticeable. It's been very unfortunate. And I don't know. I genuinely don't know what to expect today, because hard to believe that they would do worse. Hard to believe, like, how can you go anywhere but up after a performance like that? That was McDaniel's whole point. What's the positive? It was a ridiculous answer by him. What's the positive this week, Mike? Can't get worse. Thanks, coach. Win one for the Gipper. You really got us there, buddy. But dude, but also they over his regime, they have found a way. When they flame out, it's been extraordinary. It's been spectacular.
They don't just lose games, right? They don't just lose, like, they're not just like a normal loss, like, hey, season's over, but it's everything's gonna go wrong for you today. This is going to get as bad as it possibly can.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. I think you're right, but then also they have a completely new side of the right side of the line today, and Tua could be a sitting duck.
We're gonna find out, man. We're genuinely gonna find out if this team is a dumpster fire today. I mean, that is what we're gonna find out. So, Dolphins fans, man, we're in this bleep together. All right, we are in this bleep together. 25 years, no playoff win, make or break year, and we're at the point now where we're gonna find out. Hey, is this team a dumpster fire, or at the very least, just the modicum of a McDaniel team, which is beat the New England Patriots at home because Tua 7-0 against them. We'll find out together, and if it is the worst of that equation, hey, man, changes are coming, and probably sooner rather than later.
Probably. You're listening to Gameday Uncensored, which is brought to you by the Lexus TX. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer. We'll take a break. Tua, he dealt with plenty of criticism this week, including one of his former teammates peacocking on him. We'll get to that coming up here. More Gameday Uncensored right here on 104.3 FM WQAM. Back after this.
let's get back to Game Day Uncensored. The pregame show for real Miami football fans on FM 104.3 WQAM.
And welcome back, everybody. It's Game Day Uncensored here. Brendan Tobin alongside Alejandro Solana. Brittany Rodriguez producing for us here today as we get you ready for Dolphins and Patriots Week 2, the home opener at Hard Rock Stadium, which, by the way, had a nice little fantastic win yesterday by the Miami Hurricanes, even though there was an hour and 47-minute rain delay.
Yeah, weather sucked yesterday. Hey, Tobin, I texted you it's going to be the Mud Bowl. Maybe not. Maybe that field holds up. And, bro, the weather right now, I mean, you want to talk about perfect tailgating weather? I mean, it is gorgeous outside right now in Miami. I think it's the same in Miami Gardens. So hopefully that holds up at 1 p.m. Hopefully. Because I don't know about you. I'm sick of rain, bro. Like, I'm just sick of it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm no Phil Farrow, but I'm looking right now at my phone, and it says sunny the whole day in Miami Gardens, which is the first full sunny day down here in South Florida in what feels like a month.
Easily, man. It's been miserable, bro.
It's been great because it's not like it's just raining. It's like, hey, just here's your 3:00 monsoon, everybody. Enjoy that.
Yesterday, I went to shout out to my FIU Panthers winning the Shula Bowl yesterday as well. I was gonna go to the Canes game for about 2.5 hours and then drive down and go to the Shula Bowl. And bro, the rain was just miserable. So I said, all right, I'm not gonna go to the Canes game. It's fine. I go to the Canes games all the time. I'll just go to the Shula Bowl. I'm parked at Panther Garage on A Street at 6 p.m. Tobin, it's like hurricane.
Crazy.
Just coming right through Miami. I said, all right, I'll just go home. I'll watch all these games at home. That seems like a better idea.
Oh, yeah. Did they have a lightning delay in that game?
Yeah, they did. The game didn't finish until 12:30 at night last night.
Goldie later than the fight.
Goldie and Boatcamp are probably still up from all the caffeine that they were taking last night to call that game.
Dude, I was never more mad than this. I mean, I enjoyed the boxing match so much last night between Crawford and Canelo. What a night I had, obviously. But I was livid with how late that fight started. It did not start, I think, until like 12:55. I was
falling asleep. I was falling asleep at like 1 a.m. and I saw people tweeting like, "There's no way this is good for boxing. That this fight hasn't started yet. Like, how is that possible?"
It was rough. I don't understand it. It was normally like that's a normal thing to get them to start pretty late just because they want everybody in their seats, but like they had bands and it was just like, oh man, it was so annoying. Thankfully the main event delivered. If there was a stinker, then that would have been really bad, but the performance was great.
Canelo still pulling crowds and like solid pay-per-views. People are still paying to see Canelo.
Well, they don't have to pay him. It was for free. It was on Netflix.
Oh, was it on Netflix?
Yeah.
Oh, damn! I didn't realize that. I mean, I'm not in the boxing world, bro. You know that.
It was on Netflix. Yeah, so that was like the big. It was Netflix did the Tyson Jake Paul thing, which obviously had buffering issues and it was terrible. But this one ran smoothly. It just took forever. It was crazy. It also looked like Dana White was very bored on the side, like because he was the promoter for this fight, but the guy who bankrolls it's Turkey Ala Sheikh. And I swear I saw Dana White texting during the main event, like 9 out of the 12 rounds. I was like, what's going on? Like, and he didn't do a press conference last night. Very weird. Anyway, enough of the sweet science. A man who really got the mental edge apparently on the Dolphins was Xavier Howard. This went viral this week as the Miami Dolphins former cornerback. Wouldn't you know it? He would recover a fumble because that's just how the week went for the Dolphins. He spoke to the media early in the week, Solana, and I mean, really just put out some comments where it was like, he's like, hey, we made Tua. Here's the word panic. Here was Xavier Howard this week for those who missed it.
Can you tell when a quarterback is confused and flustered? Because, Tua was patting the ball at times,
Most definitely. We knew the guy, he get the ball out pretty quick. And once we take away his first read, I feel like it's panic mode after that. And it showed yesterday, man. We took away his first read, and he was trying to get rid of the ball real quick.
Oof. Eesh.
We've heard that before, though, haven't we? We've heard. I mean, Tobin, we've heard that before, bro. And
no, but it hurts. It hurts when it's one of your own, Solana.
But do you think X really feels that way, or does he know that's the narrative and he's just trying to drive it home? Like he really knows it irks Tua and he's trying to drive it home.
Well, I always thought that him and Tua were pretty cool. So I don't think he's doing it to irk Tua. I think he's just being honest. I think he's just sitting there and he's just like, yeah, this is what it is with it. And this was a little bit more from him and him saying like this was what our whole plan was, to clog the middle against Tua.
So you mentioned you gave the offense some tips earlier leading up to it. Did you see any of that like come to fruition for sure? Like something you told them, you're like, see that we made a big play off of that. Did you see any of that?
Yeah, we knew. It's a lot of a bang, quick throws in the middle. So I told them, man, clog the middle and make sure they throw the ball outside. And we clogged the middle and made. I think we got 2 interceptions by clogging the middle, and the guys come up with interceptions.
Yeah, including one to Leatu Latu, a defensive end.
Right.
Which, I mean, that was where I was just like, that was me screaming myself. Oh, come on! How did you get that?
Hey, Tua, maybe don't throw it to the biggest guy on the field. How do you not see him? Literally the biggest guy on the field. How do you not see him?
That was oof. That was a tough watch. Tua, of course, then later in the week was asked about Xavier Howard's comments, and this is what Tua had to say.
Another thing that gained a lot of traction was Xavier Howard, your former teammate, saying, once we take away his first read, I feel like it's panic mode after that. Do you have any reaction to your former teammate playing against him this time saying that?
Yeah, well, I got to talk to him after the game. Still got a lot of respect for him. I think if you look at the games where I have performed and done well, it's when I'm also getting off of my first read and, progressing or going through the progressions, kind of like what my feed is, telling me. So playing in that sense.
What you said about that, you said you got a chance to talk to him. What was that conversation like? Was it just to kind of clear the air or see where he was coming from, or what was that like?
No, it was just saying hi to an old friend. I mean, I got to see him after the game. Got to talk to him a little bit during the game as well, but that's all it was.
It wasn't about those comments you're saying.
No, I didn't even know he made those comments.
Man, well, first of all, that's not true. I mean, there's no way he doesn't know that. Come on. There's no way. There's no way he doesn't come into the facility the next day and be like, "Hey, man, hear what he said?"
I mean, Tua is very, very adamant, Toby, even though, I don't believe him, that he doesn't pay attention to anything in the media. He doesn't pay attention to anything anybody says. He plays football and he goes home and he's with his family. That's it. That's what he's doing.
I know that's what he claims. I heard that this week from him too, that you go home and it's impossible. You're in this bubble. Bluey is on. There's no contact from the outside world. You just walk in, you log into Disney Plus and yeah, I mean, sure, he's never in his own phone. I'm sure nobody texted him about it. I'm sure that's how it's worked.
And unless Ryan Clark calls him overweight, and then
right.
He sneakily knows everything that Ryan Clark had to say, despite pretending like he had no idea what Ryan Clark had to say, and made Hal Habib tell him what Ryan Clark said, just for him to literally, like in detail, respond to everything that was said in the viral clip. Tobin, the most frustrating part about that game for Tua is not to me that Xavier Howard could flat out say, "Hey, we know his first read, just take that away and the game's over. He can't make any other play." It's that the first read quite often was open in that game. You look at the all-22 film, and look, I didn't break down every single snap for the Dolphins, but enough people who did posted clips of Tyreek Hill wide open over the middle of the field, Jalen Waddle wide open over the middle of the field, throws that he typically makes with ease, Tobin, with ease. Plays are out there for Tua Tagovailoa to make, which is all that more frustrating with that result. There were throws for him to make that we're used to him making. That one throw out to the sideline where he throws the ball left, stands in the pocket. He had Malik Washington and Jalen Waddle. They were both wide open. And he just overthrew both of them. The ball lands 3 feet out of bounds. Like, those are throws that Tua makes in his sleep. And they just weren't executing. So I mean, I feel like if that gets corrected at the very least, we know his limitations, but at the very least, hey, man, make your first throw. Execute that first read. They're going to be fine in terms of offense and putting points on the board.
Yeah, there was even one that like stood out, even like that was a completion, like over the middle to Tanner Conner that Tanner had to like dive for, and I'm just like, so off. Like he was just off. I mean, that was clear, and that was after maybe taking some of a beating, so maybe he was hearing feet or whatever. Leroy made this point this week that about the like, we all know too his arm has been a point of contention forever, but he's been a very capable thrower of the ball downfield. We've seen it.
Yeah.
But he did come off of a hip injury last year, and you do wonder, like, have all these hits started to take their toll on him? Like, is he losing even the limited steam that he had? Is that starting to go somewhere? Because yeah, man, like even the things that he's good at don't appear to be as crisp and as on point. Again, week 1, maybe it was just a stinker. Everybody has bad games. That is for sure. So we'll leave room for he gets it turned around this week with a brand new right side of the offensive line. But we'll leave room for that, and we will absolutely, have a possibility that Tua is going to be fine and he'll get this fixed. But yeah, it definitely left me concerned, Solana. I mean, like, look, I've been a Tua guy this whole time. I was happy that Tua got his money. Has it been stuff that I haven't loved since he got his money? Yeah, mostly that his head got concussed multiple times last year, and that he banged up his hip. That was a nightmare because anybody who was skeptical about paying him, that was the number one concern, durability. And but lo and behold, it's been the downfall basically of everything here is Tua's health and overall health of this team. But you do also have to wonder, like, hey, this is a guy who did come into the league banged up. He said last year that he was not the same guy ever since the guy that busted his hip at Alabama.
Right.
He had a hip injury last year at the end. Like, so I do wonder about that stuff. Like a guy who a couple of years ago in 2023, like 2 years is a lifetime in football. It really is. Like, look at the dopes who are sitting here being like, oh, Darren Waller had 1,000 yards 4 years ago. It's like, yeah, it might as well be 40 years ago. Like, so that's a big thing that I'm watching out for today, is not just the bombs, and certainly we'll get to the Tyreek Hill stuff coming up because that's a big point and all that, but just him operating the system, because the whole thing about him is he is this maestro of this whole operation. If it doesn't work with him, it doesn't work with anybody.
It's the idea of him telling us, hey, I don't care who's on my offensive line. I get the ball out quick, brother. Well, it didn't look that way. Tobin, I'm with you, man. I don't want to do the exaggeration thing where one game and we completely turn our thoughts on one guy, because I don't think that's fair. But this is larger than a game. This is going back about the last 12, 13 games. Mike McDaniel and Tua are playing games together, starting and finishing games. I think it's the last 15. The Dolphins have a below 500 record. I mean, that in itself, it speaks volumes to what's going on here. And maybe it's everything. Maybe it's the hip injury, as you discussed. Maybe it's just the pressure of not getting sacked, not getting concussed. Tobin, correct me if I'm wrong. That looked like a guy that was rattled after the first interception. Correct me if I'm wrong. It didn't just look like a guy who made some mistakes. And it didn't just look like a guy whose offensive line didn't protect him as well as maybe it should have. And it didn't look like a guy whose receivers were dropping passes or running the wrong routes. To me, it looked like a guy who made a mistake on the first throw. It happens, week 1. And then was rattled, was shook. And that, to me, is scarier than Tua maybe not feeling 100%. Like, once he's lost it mentally, where the pressure, doesn't want to get injured, dealing with injury, his number one wide receiver and him don't F with each other. Maybe his coach has lost the locker room, and now he's getting rattled. That, to me, is a massive, bigger concern than anything else. I hope I'm wrong. I hope all that gets pushed to the side today.
We'll take a break here on Game Day Uncensored. When we come back, obviously there's been a lot of noise, and we'll listen to everybody just dancing on the Dolphins' grave. And what is the fan base going to react to today? Like that's the one thing that we haven't really accounted for. Is we know a lot of people are hurt. We know a lot of people are pissed if the Dolphins don't perform well. What is that patience level going to be like in that building today? We'll get to that in Game Day Uncensored after this.
Patriots are here, and the Finns are in desperate need of a win, and it's only the second game of the season. So many questions following last week's shellacking by the Colts, and a lot of cranky and noisy Dolphins fans, most calling for big changes in the front office and the coaching staff. Tua says he blocks it out, but he admits it's tough to come down from a game like that.
I find after those kind of games, it's tough to sleep because there's a lot of the what ifs and I wish, or maybe if I did this versus that. But I would say the decompressing is I think after those kind of games, it's tough.
Tua knows he has to improve, and so does Mike McDaniel.
I saw quarterback play that was less than to be desired, which Tua absolutely knows. But that was, he's the captain of the franchise quarterback, and everybody kind of fell victim to something similar. I also know that he's very much like most quarterbacks, to be honest, where you're putting a lot of work into something and your first time doing it for a collective 4 quarters in months, you're not at your best.
Get the tarot cards out, folks. It's Game Day Uncensored, the pregame show for real Miami football fans. Tobin, Solana, with Omar Kelly on FM 104.3 WQAM, Miami's sports leader.
Game Day Uncensored on FM 104.3 WQAM is brought to you by the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Get offers on select models now through September 2nd. Learn more at Lexus.com. By Edmore Sawgrass Buick GMC. Catch massive savings on over 22 acres of new Buick and GMCs at Edmore Sawgrass Buick GMC. Get backed by Morse and visit EdmoreSawgrassBuickGMC.com. And by JM Lexus. JM Lexus has the best team in the business. A 4.8 Google rating with over 22,000 reviews and counting. JM Lexus, West Sample Road, Margate.
And welcome back, everybody. It's Game Day Uncensored here on 104.3 FM WQAM. Brendan Tobin here with you alongside my co-host Alejandro Solana, getting you ready for week 2 of the NFL season as your Miami Dolphins have their home opener at Hard Rock Stadium, a 1 o'clock kickoff from Miami Gardens, and getting you set for all the action. And as you heard there in the big open, everybody is on edge. Everybody is feeling it there. It was a tough week. We all feel like we had to lick some big time wounds to get to this point, but we're ready. We're ready to get to 1 o'clock. I'm very, very curious to see what this is like. I know, didn't somebody raise money for a banner this week? Somebody raised money for a certain banner to be flying over the arena. I think I saw that.
Yeah, there was a GoFundMe to raise money so that they could be sending a message to the owner about one general manager and one coach who they're not very fond of. Look, man, like you lose that way, get ready, right? You lose that way, get ready for the fans to lash out. I'm not at the point where I'm flying a banner yet, Tobin, and I'm not donating money to a random GoFundMe, but I get it. I understand the fan base, the part of the fan base that is.
That feels like a very Canes thing, I feel like, is flying the banner. When's the last time the Dolphins had a banner? Did Jeff Ireland ever get a banner?
I don't think so. I don't think Jeff Ireland did. I could be wrong. I know the Canes have had many banners. We've had
every coach has gotten a banner.
Every coach, from Manny Diaz to
Al Golden.
Al Golden for sure. You know who didn't get a banner? Technically because he resigned.
Mark Richt.
Mark Richt didn't get.
Yeah, there was a banner that probably said "Fire your son." He didn't want to do it. He's a good dad.
Yeah.
Brittany, have you? Did you ever contribute to a Canes banner?
I definitely did not. No. that's ridiculous.
Yeah, from what I understand, from boots on the ground, is that banner is supposed to fly, I think, in like an hour or something like that. We'll see. If anybody in the chat is able to hit us up on social media with the banner, I would love to see what it has going on.
We got to get like a live camera feed out at Hard Rock Stadium. Who's at the tailgate hammered that could just jump on the stream and just show us a little banner action right up top.
Oh my goodness. It was a tough week. I mean, I think I was most upset when I saw Larry Zonka tweet, because I love me some Zonk's tweets during a game, and when he was just like, I think it was unprepared, uninspired, just completely disgusted with the Miami Dolphins. I was like, oh man, Zonk is. He was beside himself. I think at one point he only had 2 tweets. One of them was like mad, sad, hopeful. Like you just see him wrestling with his own mind at halftime, and then he was done. But obviously a week like that is going to bring a lot of reactions. If you guys missed it, here's it all packaged together for you of what the Dolphins have been talked about this week in the national sports landscape.
What the hell is he talking about? Maybe he's on a different level, McGenius guy, whatever the hell he is, nerd boy. But anyway, their team has no respect for the coach.
Their tape was a mess, and you could blame everybody.
Physicality, imposing your will on that. There's none of that with the Miami Dolphins. And I've talked about their culture down there stinks.
And then the quarterback. I'm tired of him talking so much. I never thought he was that good anyway. You did. I never thought that. I thought he had a baby arm because he had little arms. I thought he was a baby and I thought he was short. And I thought that he needed a certain coach to make him look good.
It's going to fall apart quickly. They have the Patriots this weekend at home. If they lose that one, the wheels are just bouncing down the road.
They've made more news off the field than they have on the field because of the nonsense that is going on there. Change is coming to Miami. And it needs to, no question about it. Seems like because they're not a team; they're just a team. They're just guys with talent.
And if you look at the off seasons of the Miami Dolphins, it seems like they've been having these players-only meetings publicly through the media. You have a players-only meeting because the sky is falling, not because the sun is shining.
I think Tua drives him crazy. I feel sorry for Tyreek every time I watch a Dolphin game because he can be better than that. If he could go home to Mahomes or go anywhere with somebody who had some arm, because Tua just doesn't have much of an arm.
Tua is ass. He looks bad. I mean, he is ass. He looks bad.
I mean, you want to know how crazy it is that our week was punctuated by Richie Incognito entering the media landscape? As if you needed a full circle moment to just
man.
Skip Bayless is out of retirement and Richie Incognito is back to just be like, hey, just so you guys know, it was also one of the biggest Dolphin scandals out there. No, right or wrong, I know it was a crazy thing overblown. I mean, don't get me wrong. Richie said some heinous things, and I'm sure he takes that all. He would like to, but Jonathan Martin and that whole thing, it was crazy. This was like CNN was around for Bullygate. But he just pops out like a prairie dog and is just like, do his ass. Hey, everybody, I'm in the media.
Okay, but to be fair, I'm with you. The Bullygate scandal was obviously just a bunch of nonsense. But Richie Incognito also does have a track record for just being a lunatic, does he not?
Oh, yeah. He does.
This guy attacked somebody with dumbbells at a gym. I'm pretty sure he just threw like a 40-pound dumbbell at somebody's head.
He's definitely got some demons. I think he took a Louisville Slugger to his own Corvette or Ferrari or something like that.
Yeah.
I think wasn't there one time a video of him? I mean, the Panthers do this every week, but just like shirtless, like Frank the Tank at the Elbow Room.
All that to say, Tobin. I mean, I appreciate him opining on the Miami Dolphins, but hey, Richie, I mean, you're not exactly a saint yourself, Richie Incognito. You weren't exactly an all-time winner down here either, Jack.
I think my least favorite was LaShawn McCoy, who was just like, yeah, Tua's got a baby arm. He's a baby. I was like, what? He's sticking a pacifier into his mouth. He's just a little baby out there. I was like, what the hell is happening right now? Everybody, did you have a favorite in the midst of the montage of stuff said last week?
Mine was Rex Ryan, 1,000%.
Just called him
without
nerd
a doubt, big nerd.
People very sensitive about that, very upset. How dare Rex Ryan get personal with Mike McDaniel? I get there might be a little bit of jealousy there because Rex Ryan, or maybe just resentment. Rex Ryan wants a job in the NFL, and I don't think the Dolphins even ever thought about hiring him. So maybe that irks him a little bit. But, bro, this is a guy, we were talking about this on the show. This is a guy that for years felt the wrath of people making fun of him because he likes to put toes in his mouth. And listen, man, listen, that is a crazy story. But, like, all of a sudden now we're like standing on this moral high ground of what you can and can't say about another head coach. I mean, this guy for years was the butt of foot jokes for years on national
100%.
television by anybody. And they're going to get mad because he called McDaniel nerd boy. Like, of all the things to get mad about this week, that's what we're taking issue with. I don't know. I found it to be like an overreaction based on, okay, jab, maybe unnecessary, but like people are calling for Rex Ryan to be fired. What are we doing?
Look, first of all, no kink shaming. If he likes feet, he likes feet. I know. But the thing that's crazy about that story, and it's great that Mr. and Mrs. Ryan have a healthy relationship. But the thing that's crazy about that story is it's Rex Ryan's wife's feet. Just there's nothing like scandalous about the video. Her feet are just hanging out the window. And then you just hear this voice, and it's so distinctly Rex Ryan. Like you can't because he's got just a very recognizable voice, and he goes, and I smell him. It was oh my god, what a time to be alive. What
about later that year, Patriots, Wes Welker in the locker room talking about, how much Rex Ryan loves the little foot soldiers out there for their coin. Like, just so good, man. So good. So good.
No, look, we knew it was coming this week. And Solana, that's the thing that's been interesting about the McDaniel era is that this team, for the first time with the Dolphins, like the Dolphins have not won a playoff game in 25 years, which is longer than anybody. But a lot of these teams have not been very nationally interesting over the last 25 years. They haven't. These have just been our own. It's been like our own little secret about the Dolphins being ass, But there's been a particular delight, it feels like, in this team because this team burst onto the scene. We're going to do it different. Tua already had his own doubts. Tyreek left the Chiefs and dare besmirch the name of the great Patrick Mahomes. People really wanted to see this team fail, and they're really enjoying watching this team just completely go up in smoke. It's definitely noticeable that they're like, oh, this is great. The weird coach, the quarterback we didn't believe in, and the guy who left Mahomes, the three of them, they deserve each other.
Absolutely. It's why it's so frustrating because every easy narrative, low-hanging fruit narrative that the national media has just been trying to run with the Dolphins team it is becoming true. And it's lazy to just say Tua has a noodle arm and that Tua is a little baby. It's lazy to say Mike McDaniel's in above his head just because he's the smart coach. They don't actually know that that's true. It was just the narrative that they're running with. But guess what? It's kind of coming true. And I think that's the hardest part for me to swallow, Tobin, which is, man, maybe they were right. I hate to admit it because I don't want to believe it, but maybe they were right. The Tua thing's a different conversation. I think it's pretty evident. You look at all the quarterbacks taken in that draft before and after Tua, you can argue that he's not going to be as successful as any of those, and that's a totally fair argument. It doesn't mean he's not a good quarterback. It doesn't mean he's ass, like Rinchi Incognito is saying.
Doesn't mean he's a baby, LaShawn.
And yeah, Mike McDaniel might be a nerd, okay, foot guy, but it doesn't mean that he can't be a talented head coach and still be a nerd. There's nothing wrong with being a nerd. But it's all blowing up right now, Tobin.
No,
really
but they are. The thing is that I think what we all enjoyed is there was even at the high times, even if they were dancing on mediocre teams, there was there was a swagger to them for a little bit, and that's all been lost. All of their juice, all of their cool factor has gone away with the losing and not being able to prove any of these voices. And the thing about this is they'll always come back to the trough. Even if they were wrong in the moment, they'll keep it, and then they'll be like, oh, but I'm going to go back to my takes being right from them being wrong a couple of years ago. So
yeah.
That's where everybody's at with all of this. So
what one thing that did sting was Stephen A. Smith, who we all know is just he's a sports caricature. He's up there and he's spewing takes, and it's all
a carnival barker.
He's a carnival barker, perfect. And he said something that resonated with me, Tobin, genuinely resonated with me. And I hate it because he's 100% right. He goes on this rant and he says that they stink, and that's not what I think he was right. But at the very end, he goes, they're not a team. They're just a guys with talent. And right now, that's probably the best way to sum up this Dolphins team. They're top heavy. They've got talent on the offensive side of the football. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Devon Achane, and Tua. And they've got talent on the defensive end, that front seven. Zach Sealer, Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb, Matt Judon. Like, they've got talent, but nobody seems in sync with one another. Nobody seems to be connected. Nobody seems to necessarily love the head coach anymore. And nobody seems to be playing for the quote-unquote team. It's evident with that first game. That means Mike McDaniel's lost his team. That's tough.
It is tough. And we'll get into Mike McDaniel and what kind of pressure he facing today. I mean, he's going to be in his building. We've seen some of these go really bad for head coaches. And Stephen Ross, you would assume, is going to be there today. What's if he hears his fan base upset, is there something drastic that he's going to do? We'll take a break, get into that on Game Day Uncensored right after this.
Time now for more Game Day Uncensored, the pregame show for real Miami football fans on FM 104.3 WQAM.
And welcome back, everybody. It's Game Day Uncensored here on 104.3 FM. WQAM, getting you ready for Dolphins and Patriots week 2 of the NFL season, as your Miami Dolphins lost 33-8 last week to open up the season. It was brutal. It was embarrassing. And now they get into divisional play where they have the Patriots. And then, of course, the Bills will be coming your way on Thursday for Game Day Uncensored at 4 o'clock. So be prepared for that. But we'll take it one game at a time. The fan base, obviously, very pissed right now. What do you feel like it is, Solana, right now? Do you feel like it is more anger or apathy right now with the Dolphins? Because I saw something from Barry Jackson that said like 91% of the households didn't even tune in to week 1 of the Dolphins season. So maybe you weren't even juiced up for it. But I sense a hostility this week, or maybe just a defeated feeling, as deflated as it's been. What has been your temperature over this last week?
I don't think you could call it apathy going into week 1. Like, it's week 1. If you're a football fan, if you're a Dolphins fan, even if you're, the beaten down Dolphins, it's week 1. You tune in, right? Like you at the very least pay attention. You go, you find out what the score is. Like, you just figure out, okay, what is this team? It's week 1. It's the NFL. If you're a fan, you're figuring out what is it that I'm going to be getting week 1. I think, Tobin, it's anger. It has to be anger, because you're just doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, expecting a different result. And at the end of the day, this organization has become the model organization for accepting mediocrity. And the fan base is sick of it. And finally, you had some sliver of hope 2 years ago with one of the most electrifying offenses in the league, and you've squandered that window. And then you come into a season with the same head coach, with the same general manager, with the same guys, the same core, and you didn't improve the roster, and you were expecting different results. You were expecting a different outcome, and you're not getting it. So I think it's anger from the fan base, genuinely. And you're right when you said things can get ugly quickly for a head coach and his home crowd. If the Dolphins are down, I don't think this will be the case, by the way. But if this game gets out of hand, how last Sunday did, McDaniel's going to hear it, man. He is.
Look, and that's the thing right there, is like, I didn't think this was going to happen last week. I thought that the Dolphins were going to handle the Colts, and they didn't look like they belonged on the same field with them. So I just think all options are on the table, and we have to prepare ourselves for that. The Dolphins, for the most part, have been slight favorites this week for this game. It's teetered anywhere from 2.5 to 2 to 1.5. It's been in that range. But I just think that with this Patriots team coming in, who also had a disappointing week 1 loss to the Raiders, everybody is feeling good because Mike Vrabel's taking over the reins there, and we'll get into him a little bit later on. But you have to prepare yourself for anything, because like what happened last week is not common in the NFL. The NFL is mostly a bunch of games that are fairly close, fairly competitive. And I think outside of the Dolphins, the only teams that got waxed like that were the Giants and the Panthers. And, I was sitting here being like, come on, Florio, you're trolling when you have the Dolphins that low with all those guys. And look, apologies to Florio. He looked loud right. Now he's on his power ranking, says the Dolphins dead last deserved. It was a dead last performance.
Deserved.
To give some guys to give fans a sense on the betting that is kind of flipped with the Dolphins. The Dolphins went into last week, I believe they were plus 700 to win the AFC East. That has gone up to plus 1,500. Now, a lot of that also is the Bills are the only 1-0 team in the division right now, so they're minus 800. But just to give you a sense, like that's where the action has shot up on the Dolphins. McDaniel was the favorite last week to be the first coach fired. It was somewhere around 2-1. It's now gone from like -4 to -400 that he's the first coach fired. So everybody is just waiting for the guillotine to drop right now on this build. It's really, really rough. Tua, he said this week, we alluded to this sound a little earlier, but this was Tua this week talking about all the fan frustration and that he doesn't hear it.
I think it's hard for me because I don't see any of what you guys are talking about. Like, I don't have any social media. I go home, I'm with my kids, with my family. Kids want to watch Disney Channel or Disney Plus. Like, gonna put whatever's on for them. Then I'll play like games with my wife while I'm there. So I wouldn't say I get to hear a lot of that or see a lot of that. But it doesn't matter anyways. Like, are they going to help us win the game? Are they going to help us lose the game? Like, that starts within. And so if we can look at each other and look at the things that we can correct and things that we can help each other on to move forward, to hopefully get a win, this upcoming Sunday, I think that's what we should be focusing on.
There you go. Tua earlier in the week on the fans, which, yeah, I don't know. I feel like Tua, for the most part, yes, very polarizing, and there's been plenty of detractors. The one thing I would say, though, is I think for the most part in that building, those are the fans mostly who are paying their hard-earned money. There's a lot of fans, that I think you would say are probably the most optimistic Dolphins fans who go there every single week. When I had season tickets to Lana, we went and you had your same little pod that you sat there with. This is a Heat season ticket holder. You got your crew. And, it's always kind of like a little like major league. We're like, oh, don't worry, they're going to blow it. But you go into these games with the most hopes, right? Like, you're still there. You want to be entertained by the product. And then then what happens. Then, my grandfather and I watched the 1-15 season. But I think for the most part that home has been a safe haven. Tua is typically a lot better at home. But he hasn't been booed. Like, there hasn't been the chanting for Kyle Orton moment. There hasn't been the fan base personally that he can't stick his head in the ground like an ostrich and block out the noise and turn on Bluey. Like, this may be the first real direct, animosity that he gets from the fan base if he doesn't have a good performance today.
Yeah, and look, I hope it doesn't happen. Genuinely, I struggle with that because when the fan base is booing whoever, it's typically because, hey, that person's to blame. And to me, Tobin, one person here is not to blame for what's gone on here, other than maybe the big guy in the box in Stephen Ross. Like, that's who the frustration should be directed at, in my opinion, right? Like, when you're talking about the frustration of the fan base, the how long it's been since this team, since this organization has experienced genuinely great football, consistently great football, the frustration isn't just with Mike McDaniel. I mean, we're frustrated with McDaniel. The team looked awful last week. And if the boos come down today, it's because they look awful today. So, yeah, fine. There's definitely, it's deserving in some element. And then Tua hasn't played great. You drafted him. But, I mean, it's just so many things. That's why I struggle with, finding any sort of joy in that, because it's not fun. I mean, it means your team sucks if your home crowd is booing you. At the end of the day, though, man, you mentioned me being a Heat season ticket holder for a long time. I had Dolphin season tickets too. I had Kane season tickets. I was sitting in those stands, 90-degree heat, when Clemson kicked the socks off of the Hurricanes, beat them by 100. I'm not booing, but I am sitting there saying, hey, at some point, like, ownership, seniority, whoever is running the show, don't we deserve better as a fan base? Like, at some point. And what makes this different is the fact that it's almost disrespectful at this point. The general manager telling you, hey, the offensive line is good. Don't worry about it.
Right.
Like, we know the offensive line is better than you think. And it's a disaster. And then this year, it's just obvious to everybody. Like, the secondary is not good enough to compete at a high level in the National Football League. And they go and they don't make any changes to the secondary. The offensive line is still an issue. They still don't make changes to the secondary. I think that's where the frustration is boiling over to now a situation where Tua and Mike McDaniel are probably going to feel the wrath of it, but it's deeper than just those two. It really
Oh, I
is.
agree with you. And I feel like it's all setting up for Chris Greer to still skate on this. Like, I feel like that's how it's going to go. I really do. I think this is going to end with Mike getting fired and they'll move on from Tua, but Chris Greer will then be like, now I'm going to be less, deferring to the next head coach. And it's like, oh, great, you have more control. Awesome. Like this guy who goes out there and he's just like, what's the guy's bet? Like this guy has have you ever met a man piss on a medical chart more than this guy? He's just like, whatever. Oh, he has this kind of past. Not going to happen. Old Chris Greer, not this year. Oh, he's coming off of a hip injury and he hasn't played in a few years. But the offensive coordinator knows him. Bring him in, baby. Doesn't matter. Off a torn Achilles, you say. Great. What are the odds that's going to happen again? Like, it's just crazy to me. And then you mentioned Stephen Ross. Like, I don't know. Like, I do feel like he's at this age, this advanced age. We know that he's tried to make big changes before, and it's all kind of blown up in his face, like Wile E. Coyote, where like he's trying to get, Jim Harbaugh, and he's trying to get, Sean Payton. He's tried to make big moves, and it's just it just fails in an unbelievable fashion. So maybe this wasn't his first choice, but I do wonder how many more of these he's going to want to watch. And if it's not this one, will it be Monday Night Football against the Jets with their jerseys, which are very much not blue, by the way? I was at Dick's Sporting Goods yesterday, and those are not blue jerseys. I mean, I don't understand why people keep trying to tell me that. That's not what they are. That's not what they are. You keep lying to me.
It's not blue though. It's dolphin blue, Toby.
Yeah, but it's not blue. It's not blue. It's not. I know what blue is. It's not. It's not navy blue. It's not any kind of blue. It's a black jersey.
We were talking about this the other day on the show, Tobin, and just quickly, I know we're up against it. If you're gonna buy that jersey, because we had somebody text in who was at Dolphin Stadium at the team store, and apparently, like, you can't customize this jersey just yet. So whatever they have available, whatever player number they have available is who you have to get. And somebody did say that they have a Merino one, but if you had to buy a jersey with a name on the back from somebody currently on the roster, take your pick. Who are you going with today? You're a fan. You want the new rivalry jersey, which I do think is absolutely fire. Can't wait to watch those. And I have to get it with a player and a number on the back. Like, from this roster, who are you getting? And I don't know. I mean, Tua, I have a Tua jersey. I think a Tua jersey will always be a fine jersey. The bottom line is he's your best quarterback since Dan Marino. It's not even a question. But I don't know. I mean, with how you feel today as a Dolphins fan, who are you rocking? Who are you proudly spending money on to rock and rep on your back?
I probably would go Zach Sealer, but I don't know does anybody wear a defensive lineman's jersey anymore? Like, is anybody? Nobody's done that here probably since JT. Maybe Wake, I guess, but those guys are even more pass. They're more pass rushers, right? Like I don't know the last time somebody's rocked the defensive tackles jersey. Chop Robinson, just because he's young and you feel like he's gonna have a good career. But I don't know if he's jersey worthy yet. I'm not sure. It's a good question. Yeah. It's a good question. We'll take a break. Speaking of Chop Robinson, we'll hear a little bit from him and others around this week as your Miami Dolphins dealing with all the noise. How do they turn the page? The players will explain that going into week 2. We'll take a break here on Gameday Uncensored. More to come after this.
pregame show for real Miami football fans on FM 104.3 WQAM.
And welcome back, everybody. It's Game Day, Uncensored, here on 104.3 FM WQAM, brought to you by Ed Morse Sawgrass Automall. Ed Morse Sawgrass Buick GMC's entire inventory is on sale and all backed by Morse. Click Ed Morse Sawgrass Buick GMC.com to start shopping. GMC, we are professional grade as Miami Dolphins getting set for another game week here. It is Sunday. I am heading down after this. I'm heading to my boy Leroy Horde's house. We've been talking about this all week, so I'm doing a live watch with Leroy. I haven't watched a football game with him in a while, Usually it's just by myself, but I'm going to go check this out, and we're going to break this all down. And quite frankly, I mean, I haven't seen Leroy this angry about the Dolphins in I don't know how long.
Is Leroy, like when he's watching a football game, is he a talker during the game? Because we know Leroy loves to talk, but is he like breaking down the game for you, or is he
like
just
a scientist?
Wow. Okay. All right. That's
like a
interesting.
scientist. This guy, he really is like, I mean, he genuinely is a football savant.
No, for sure. Yeah.
There are things about Leroy Horde. I'm just like, I don't know. I need Rosetta Stone for what football you're talking, dude. Like he's got that kind of stuff that he's going with, and then just genuine hilarity, which will be fun. But yes, I'm heading down there to Davie after this. I should be there by like the start of the second, I would imagine. But I'm looking forward to it. I hope everybody else is looking forward to at least some football. We'll get to this. There'll be other games if this one stinks. You guys could flip the channel to something. I don't know. Let's get to
come on, Tobin. Come on.
I'm trying.
Let me talk you into it, man. It's Drake May. It's Drake May, the darling of the Northeast. Oh, Drake May. The Bostonians are all obsessed with Drake May. Bro, he got beat by Geno Smith last week. Geno Smith carved the defense up last week, and Drake May looked trash in the second half. Let's at least be a little positive going into today. I want to be the beacon of hope for Dolphins fans.
It's not really our style. I mean, it's not game day propaganda. It's game day uncensored.
Yeah.
I do recall that I do hate those fans in Boston. Like, I mean, F New England all the way, because let me tell you something, Solana. I've never been as scared of my life as when I was doing concession stands at probably at the time it was Dolphins, Hard Rock. I don't know. Land Shark.
It's my favorite thing about Brendan Tobin. Like of all the things, I was a fan of yours growing up as a kid to now working with you. Finding out that you work concessions at Land Shark Stadium is still my
That's
favorite,
crazy. No.
Like working a churro stand is just the funniest thing to me, man.
Dude, well, we did this as a fraternity at Barry University. Go Bucks. And that was our big fundraiser, is we would work concession stands. Like that would pilot all of our expenses for the year. And we had to, and that was the worst part about being president, was getting everybody up at 4 a.m. to go to these 1 o'clock games. But dude, when we shut the beer off, which was always at the end of halftime, basically, start of the third quarter, no more beer. These Patriot fans, I mean, you would have thought I was throwing a Molotov cocktail in the zombie apocalypse. Like, they were so mad at me. Open it up. Let me in. What do you mean it's closed? I'm just like, oh my God, I am fearful for my life. Had to like slide the window shut. Now I saw this week, I saw some of the reporters, they said, oh, it's just grab and go. You can't have that with Patriot fans. They're gonna loot. They're gonna go and be like, I'm gonna go past your robot to get my Sam Adams. Can't trust them.
Do they have to, like, the Sam Adams have to make sure there's like X amount of inventory at every stadium for these, what do you call them, the Sully and Murphs? Like, because they don't drink anything else, right? They only drink Sam Adams, a true Boston beer.
Yeah. That's, I think I saw Mark Wahlberg last night. All he had during the fight was Sam Adams. Let us get to a little segment we like to call Echolocation.
It's time for echolocation.
That is how Dolphins communicate.
It's okay to be called out as long as you change your behavior.
What's 1,000 yards if it's not like a winning season?
They talk, we do.
Echolocation.
Send it in.
They talk, we do. What a ridiculous statement. Yeah, you do nothing, Bradley Chubb. Ridiculous. This is a little segment let's call echolocation. Some of the sounds of the week. They're not worthy of a segment, but together they form a Dolphin pod that is strong. And first, we'll start off with the aforementioned Chop Robinson. The Dolphins the Dolphins sophomore pass rusher. He had a bad offsides last week. It fell on his ass. So he'll look to bounce back this week. But he says he could tell this week, Solana, that things were different than they were the year before.
I just feel like last year, when we had a tough loss or a tough game, people would kind of linger on throughout the week. But you could just tell after we watched the film and then we came from the off day, everybody would just focus on New England. So it's just a different like whole atmosphere and chemistry here.
You buy what he says, Solana?
Nah, not at all. Not at all.
Too young.
But you can't buy what anybody says after that type of loss. I respect what he's saying. Hey, we're all locked in. People treated this loss differently. You hope they're right. You hope that's true. But no, I'm not buying it. They called a players only meeting on Tuesday. Like after one game. After one game.
That's so embarrassing. Bradley Chubb. This was Bradley Chubb. He's got a matchup this week going up against Will Campbell, the rookie left tackle out of LSU. A lot of chatter. Did okay in his debut. Did give up a couple of sacks though, and so that you would think that the Dolphins pass rush, which was not very impressive this last game, but Bradley Chubb did get a sack after basically missing a year. So that was probably one of the rare good moments. This is what he had to say about going against the Rook.
Good young tackle, man. We actually got the same agent, so kind of saw his progression throughout college last year, and saw him coming to his own now. I know he gave up 2 last week, but I don't feel like that's a reflection of him as a player. You know what I mean? He's a good young tackle, aggressive in the run game, aggressive in the pass game as well. Got a good anchor to him, so it's going to be a good matchup. Excited to go against.
All right, well, that's cool story they talk we do. You better make him look like that, okay? That's what I want to see, Bradley Chubb. It better be indicative of him this week. You better keep it going.
Tobin, what did Bradley Chubb say after the game? Like, the defense is just doing whatever we're doing out there. Like, we're just making things up out there. Can we get Bradley Chubb to not talk into a microphone anymore? Hey, Bradley, just relax, bro. Just stop. Stop talking. Please, stop talking.
Bradley Chubb was the guy this year who said last year we were lying when we said that we were a different team.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, last year we were lying. He didn't even take a snap last year, which is the funniest part. Last year we were lying when we told everybody we're getting tougher. It's just something we said. But this year you should believe us. And then after the first game, you get embarrassed. The defense gives up a drive on every possession. It's never happened before in the NFL. On every possession, yeah, we were just out there. We're just kind of spitballing. We're just making things up. Like, Bradley, stop being honest in front of reporters. Just stop. Stop being honest. You're too honest.
It's crazy. That's all the time we have for echolocation. They frankly don't deserve more after last week. We'll take a break here on Game Day Uncensored. And, of course, we got to get to one of the big topics of the week. Is the deep ball ever coming back, or is it gone forever? Tyreek Hill. Where's he at right now? Because we saw him on the sidelines last week. We saw him in the locker room this week. We're going to talk to Omar Kelly at the start of the final hour around noon. He had an exchange with Tyreek Hill that was very interesting this week. Take a break. Back with more Game Day Uncensored after this.
Every Miami Hurricanes football game can be heard here. FM 104.3 WQAM.
Sponsored by Kelly.
happen when you're blown out. As usual, lots of fixin' needed for the Finns. Mike McDaniel, on the very hot seat with Chris Greer, says Tua and turnovers are a good place to start.
It was a unique circumstance this past game, which every game is unique, but this one in particular, where, I think part of that is absolutely on him. Part of it is on his eligibles, and part of it is on the play caller and how even you are with run and pass.
The Patriots are in town today. Tua says Pats head coach Mike Vrabel seems to have his number, but hey, that's fixable too.
Vrabel we've played against them and we never beat, their team. So coming into this week, we know what's at stake. I mean, he got his guys coached up really well, and that's an opportunity for us this Sunday.
It's the home opener for the Dolphins. Is it a must-win? Well, for some, it might be. Let's get going on this one. Tons to talk about. Time for Gameday Uncensored, the pregame show for real Miami football fans. Tobin, Solana, with Omar Kelly on FM 104.3 WQAM, Miami's sports leader.
Gameday Uncensored on FM 104.3 WQAM is brought to you by the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Get offers on select models now through September 2nd. Learn more at Lexus.com. By Edmore Sawgrass Buick GMC. Catch massive savings on over 22 acres of new Buick and GMCs at Edmore Sawgrass Buick GMC. Get backed by Morse and visit EdmoreSawgrassBuickGMC.com. And by JM Lexus. JM Lexus has the best team in the business. A 4.8 Google rating with over 22,000 reviews and counting. JM Lexus, West Sample Road, Margate.
And welcome back in, everybody. It's Game Day Uncensored here on FM 104.3 WQAM. We take you guys up until the 1 o'clock kick here. And we are streaming live also on YouTube and Twitch. The channel's there. 104.3 WQAM on YouTube and Miami 104.3 WQAM on Twitch. You guys can check that on out. And we, of course, have Game Day Uncensored post-game edition coming your way. Do you know who's filling in today, Solana? Do we know? Brittany, do you have any idea who's filling in?
Yes, I do. It's Dono.
Alex Dono will be there, taking your Dolphins calls one way or another. So you guys can catch that coming your way after the Dolphins game today. I believe he gets going at 4 p.m. today. So get fired up, everybody. And we got that for you right here on 104.3 FM WQAM. As we'll see if the Dolphins can make it a double victory weekend after the Canes waxed USF yesterday in just absolute great fashion. But they seem a little bit more loaded on their level than the Dolphins do. So we'll see. The Miami Dolphins, Solana, big point of conversation this week that we haven't gotten into is Tua and Tyreek Hill. Now, we talked about their relationship last week and that it was, they said it was all blown up by the media, but they also both had a hand in making it a thing this offseason. We all are wondering about Tyreek Hill. Is he going to get to the point where he asks out? Are the Dolphins going to get to the point where they get sick of just, any antics, whether they be off the field issues or sideline blowups? He had like a little thing early last week after the interception where he seemed very pissed. It has been thrown around at him that he has not caught a ball of over 30 yards now in a calendar year, which he's very clearly not pleased about. We'll get to this exchange here in just a second. But how critical do you think it is that Tyreek Hill gets on the same page with his quarterback this week?
Well, it's critical for the success of the team. Like, forget about their relationship for a second. Like, I'm not as surprised. Hey, diva wide receiver, you're having issues with him. Like, it's Tyreek Hill. And, look at what's going on in his life off the field. That guy can't keep a relationship steady anywhere in his life. So I'm not surprised. I'm not. But I don't think it matters when it comes to on-field success. I think you can still have complications in the locker room, but hey, you have to rely on your best receiver for your offense to work. Go out there and make it work. Like, it is what it is. The problem is that's not working. And it's showing. Tobin, how many times do we have to read that stat? 9-0. The Miami Dolphins are when Tyreek Hill catches or has 100 or more yards receiving. And 11-0. And when he doesn't, 7-16, now 7-17. When he has 99 yards or fewer. The success of this team, whether we like it or not, depends on Tyreek Hill being electric in the offense, being a playmaker, and it's not there. It hasn't been happening. I don't think it's because of their relationship, but who knows? Maybe it is. Maybe it really is.
Yeah, I don't know about the relationship either. It is, it's gonna become a thing even more just because when there's not success, you look for any reasons. And look, we talked about Tua's health a little bit earlier on. If he's, going down, Tyreek Hill, is that a case? Like, we know what happened, ever since that Tennessee game where he had that bad tackle and everything he's been dealing with. He got a little banged up last week. It feels also like defenses are throwing him and Jalen Waddle around like rag dolls, and shocker, the two guys who are 5'9" or very thin are getting banged up early on. So you do worry about that. But I don't think that he's not fast. Like, I thought if Tua didn't blow that throw, man, maybe he's in there for 6. Like, it doesn't feel like his ability is completely gone. But this was an exchange. He didn't speak till Friday. Omar Kelly, who we're going to have join the program coming up at the top of next hour, asked him about the lack of deep balls to Tyreek Hill. And this is what was said in the locker room this week. Very interesting exchange. And here's what Tyreek Hill had to say when asked by Omar.
Is there any rhyme or reason you haven't caught a pass for over 30 yards in a full year?
You trying to piss me off today?
No, I'm not trying to piss you off. I'm just trying to ask you what is going on, because we see the speed is there.
Yeah.
But are the throws there?
I don't know, bro. Like I said, I'm just grateful to be here, bro. I love my job, bro. Hey, it'll come. It's gonna come, man. I feel like this week, we got a great opportunity to go out there, make some plays, and move past last week. And I don't know, man. It'll come. Sometimes I hope. All right, sir.
There you go, Tyreek Hill. Is he accusing Omar of pot stirring? He's trying to go out here and see where things are at with this whole team. But man, I don't know. He's very clearly like he needs it so bad. Like, he needs it like a fish needs water right now, Solana.
He's pissed, Tobin, because people think he's washed too. That to him is the biggest problem. Forget the team success. I think he wants to win, by the way. I genuinely do. Of all the things that I don't like about Tyreek Hill, again, out of the game of football, when it comes to him being a competitor, I don't think anybody could deny that. And we saw it boil over last year in the final game where he realized Patrick Mahomes is going to go to another Super Bowl without me, 3rd straight. They've already won 2 without me. And I'm getting passes from Snoop Huntley, and my team can't beat the New York Jets, and my quarterback's nowhere to be found. The quarterback I caped up for, it all boiled over. And then you get to a situation where, all right, I'm healthy, I'm ready to go, and possession 1, Tua throws the ball 10 feet over his head. He's frustrated. He's a competitor. I get it. And yeah, is Omar stirring the pot a little bit? Maybe, but it's a fair question.
It's also a job. Like it's one of those things.
Yeah, for sure. I don't understand the outrage, Tobin. If Dwayne Wade in his prime had gone, a year without scoring 20 points. You don't think anybody would go up to him and say, hey, why isn't the offense getting you the ball a little bit more to score 20 points?
Listen,
you need it. You need it.
As somebody who definitely doesn't deserve the blame for the breakup between Pat Riley and Jimmy Butler, definitely doesn't deserve any blame.
Debatable.
Sometimes you just gotta ask questions, like, I don't know, that's just what happens to come up. If you get a response that tells somebody to shut up and the other guy gives you the death stare, I don't know what you're supposed to do with that. So I do not go to Omar at all for asking these questions. These are you mentioned it. It's the elixir to this team, and they can't get on the same page. You have an update for us, boots on the ground?
Yeah, David Fronis. We were talking earlier. A fan or multiple fans had put up a GoFundMe throughout the entire week. They wanted to raise funds to fly a banner over Hard Rock Stadium today, a message to the owner, and it looks like they have come through with their promise. Here's the picture. David Frona's South Florida Sun-Sentinel just posted it on Twitter, a banner over Hard Rock Stadium, fire Greer, fire McDaniel.
Wow. He did it.
Yeah.
Jeez. You think you think they see that from inside the stadium? Because I saw somebody already put Chris Greer's in the building. Do you think that he's still able to see that, or it doesn't get that close?
I don't think planes can fly directly over stadiums. So I don't think like that type of airplane, I don't think can fly directly over stadiums. So
do you think
probably
he gets
not,
texted that? You think he gets texted that immediately?
That is going everywhere. That'll be front page tomorrow on the sports section. Like, unfortunately, that'll be everywhere. These guys will see it 100%.
Man, oof. Well, that guy made a promise. He came through with that one. That's for sure.
And you want to Tobin? They don't win this game today. Mike McDaniel is going to go into that podium after the game, and guess what? There will be another question. Maybe it'll be Omar Kelly. Did you see a banner today outside the stadium? I mean, this is the state of where things have gotten to. What are your thoughts?
Right. No, I've asked our boy Vlad. Vlad's boots on the grounds there today, covering the game for our station. I said, hey, let us know what Stephen Ross is looking like. Because he's usually right. He's right by that locker room. If they don't win, very curious. Because do I think he gets fired after 2 weeks? No. But if it's embarrassing, you got a game in 3 days. It's probably ridiculous to fire a guy when you got a game in 3 days. But man, I think nothing's off limits. I don't know. I think we're in uncharted territory for this era. Like, it's definitely something we've been here as Dolphin fans. There's been plenty of turnover and weird stuff happening, but I think for this era, you never know. It's crazy times right now. It really is. Let's hear from Tua. This is what Tua had to say on the lack of deep balls to Tyreek Hill.
I think that's also important, is continuing to take the shots downfield, whether the shell provides it or it doesn't, to then continue to keep them back and, kind of like, man, regardless of what we're doing, like they're still throwing it deep. I think there's some merit to that. But it does, that there's also a fine line, I think, where it does kind of get tough. Yeah.
Because it seems like a waste to throw when teams are giving you those looks when it's like 3rd and 3, and it's either take that or take the first down.
No doubt. Yeah.
That's the deciding factor.
I would say so, but I would say even on 3rd down too, given what teams do, it just depends, right? Like if they're doubling 10 and 17 and then allowing the other guys to, hey, we're going to stand on this. If they win their matchup, that's all right, as long as 10 and 17 don't beat us, so I think it's also one of those.
There you go. Tua searching for it.
Tobin, one of the only measured responses to the Dolphins losing from a national perspective this week came from Kurt Warner, who's like the only person who watched the film and didn't just have like an overreaction, hot take, fire everybody, like demeanor after that game. And he, I don't know if you saw, he was on with Rich Eisen, and he pointed out just from watching Tua, because, Xavier Howard is saying take away the first option. And then even there, Tua's talking about they cover Tyreek, they cover Waddle, and he was saying that it's not that Tua struggles reading his progressions or going through his progressions. That's not necessarily the case. And it's not even, from what I took away, like it's not always pocket integrity either. It has to do with the fact that the offense, in Kurt Warner's estimation, is designed specifically to be heavily focused on option number 1 on a pass to get the ball. And that the other routes, options 2 and 3, are designed purposely to kind of be like, what's it called? What's the word I'm looking for? Decoys. So that option 1 is always working.
Mm-hmm.
And that because when option 1 is taken away, because those other routes are almost decoys more than their actual options or routes, that's why it becomes so hard for Tua to have to go and execute reading through his progressions and going to options 2 or 3 in the passing game. So it may not even be that Tua Tagovailoa, this is what Kurt Warner was saying, it may not even be that Tua struggles when he can't get it to whoever the play is designed for. It's that the play is so heavily designed for that option that the other options aren't even options. And it's an interesting perspective because when you think about it, like Tua's limited in his mobility, he's limited in being able to get out of the pocket. We know that. If this is how it's schemed, where it's like, hey, this is going to be, a curl route to Tyreek Hill and Waddle and whoever, Westbrook-Akine or whoever the tight end is, they're more decoys than anything. I mean, that in itself could cause problems if Tyreek is double teamed.
Yeah, and you also don't know, but we also don't know. We don't know if McDaniel's scheming that because he knows that's how his quarterback would succeed, or if that's just how the system goes. But I do think that, and X kind of gave note to this, is one of the things that was impressive about Tua in his career early on is that, he lived in those tight windows over the middle of the field. And I do feel like there's a little bit of the glitch in the system now, as people know if they can, kind of mess up the flow of the stream right now, that they can kind of short circuit the system a little bit. And that, if there's more clogging of the middle of the field, if there is that, then Tua's like out of his comfort zone, that he has to go to the outside, just to go to the sidelines. And that's just not where he typically flourishes either. So that's a little bit of what people are talking about with like, hey, is the book out on him? And there are things that, hey, look, even if the book's out on you, you could still succeed and execute. But we do know with the Dolphins, like, yeah, it's usually when he's processing fast, he's getting to where he wants to go to. And if that's short-circuited at all, then he's not the same guy. He's not a guy who can roll out and wait for somebody else to adjust to the ball and get open. He's not that type of quarterback. He never has been. We'll take a break. One guy who's got the early book on Tua has been Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel, who's handed Tua some of his worst losses in his career. He's going to do it again today. We'll hear on Tua. We'll hear from Mike Vrabel on that particular matchup coming up next year on Gameday Uncensored.
WQAM broadcasting live from the Ed Moore Sawgrass
Uncensored, the pregame show for real Miami football fans on FM 104.3 WQAM.
And welcome back, everybody. It's Game Day, Uncensored here on 104.3 FM WQAM as the Dolphins are getting ready to take on the New England Patriots. It's time to get to our keys to the game, brought to us by Edmore Sawgrass Auto Mall. Shop exceptional Cadillac offers now at the 3-time Cadillac Dealer of the Year, Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac. Visit EdmoreSawgrassCadillac.com. You're always backed by Morse. So the Dolphins are getting ready to take on the Pats, division rival Solana, a team that lost last week to the Las Vegas Raiders 20-13, and of course now have Mike Vrabel as their head coach. This is a team, a franchise Tua has had a ton of success against. He has really done a good job in his career.
Undefeated.
Undefeated. But this is a head coach that he is not. And you know what's interesting is, like, we went into this week and I was like, what is his career against Mike Vrabel? And I for some reason I thought it was like 0-4. I thought it was like it's only 2 games. But you could argue maybe the 2 most consequential losses of his career. I mean, they really are 2 of the worst losses he ever had. The one that obviously stands out, you were at this game, weren't you, producing for this, the game in Tennessee?
I was. That's one of the weirdest in my professional career. One of the weirdest, just saddest, most bizarre nights of my entire life. Genuinely up in a booth, not knowing if Tua Tagovailoa was alive, Tobin, for a good 2 minutes. It was just scary, man. Just genuinely scary stuff.
Yeah, this was a crazy time. The Dolphins and against Mike Vrabel and the Titans had that one in 2022. They got smoked in that game. Their playoff hopes were dashed in that performance. And then, of course, we know what happened the Monday night catastrophe that happened in 2023. I mean, just awful. A terrible loss. But this one and this matchup, it is a different team. It is a younger team he's going on. This is a team that's got Drake May, who last week got sacked 4 times. That offensive line is brand new altogether. They got a rookie left tackle. They brought in some free agents to try and shore some things up, but he did get got last week by a Raiders front that, yes, has one of the best in the league in Max Crosby. But the Dolphins, you thought that this was going to be a front seven that was going to make a big impact. They couldn't touch Daniel Jones last week, dude. It was super frustrating.
Outside of that one sack we mentioned earlier, Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips, both of them kind of got around the edge and were able to get to the quarterback. I mean, the idea that the front seven was going to be able to kind of help alleviate things for the secondary, and that the front seven was just going to cause havoc, and that was going to be the difference between the Dolphins defense being able to hold things down in the backfield or not. It was bogus. It was BS. It just didn't happen. They couldn't generate the type of pass rush they needed to get that Daniel Jones. I know the Colts have a good offensive line, Tobin, but I mean, the idea that you're rushing 4, at times you're rushing 5 with a blitzer from one of your linebackers, and you can't generate any pass rush, you're in a bad situation. And I'll tell you what, Tobin, I don't know if this game's going to play out the same way, but Drake May threw the ball 46 times against the Raiders. And I know part of that in the second half, they were down, so they had to generate some offense. I get it, but he threw the ball 46 times. This idea that Mike Vrabel is just going to run this ground and pound, old school football type of game, I mean, maybe not, because if they know that the Dolphins' biggest weakness is the secondary and they trust Drake May to go out there, throw 46 passes in the opener, the Dolphins have to be prepared. The secondary, Anthony Weaver, has to be prepared for that to be a reality. Once again today, your entire secondary getting carved up against the Patriots.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting because, last week they nearly gave up 400 to Geno Smith. So there is an opportunity if the Dolphins can do it. Like last week they couldn't, that, maybe they could have the same thing go. Like they're not going to have Christian Gonzalez, who's, their number 1 DB. He's out with a hamstring injury. We'll see what the other actives are coming up here in just a few minutes for both sides. We have a very good idea with the Dolphins already. but it does have the opportunity for some numbers to get put up in a game like this. That's going to be an interesting thing to check out for this squad. But yeah, man, I'm very interested because they also got after the quarterback a little bit last week with Geno Smith, and I am just, I'm nervous to see what this backup offensive line can do. Larry Borum and Keon Smith. We have not gotten rave reviews of those guys. We know they brought in Kendall Lamb. They brought in Cole Strange, former Patriot, but he's been here for 2 days. I don't know what the likelihood is that if he has to be thrust into action, what kind of success can he give you? It's just a disaster.
It only took a week for Chris Greer to pull out let's sign a former first rounder. Let's head down that route and see how it works out for us. Look, man, I'm very interested to hear Omar's thoughts coming up at noon when he joins us, because nobody has crushed the lack of depth that the Dolphins have on that offensive line. Nobody has stressed that more than Omar Kelly. He's been on with us. He's tweeted about it. He's talked about it on his own podcast, on his own outlets, where he thinks the Dolphins' backup tackles, backup offensive line are just like they're guys that probably don't even belong in the NFL. Like, that's where his headspace was at. And he said it multiple times with us, Tobin, throughout the preseason. Your starting left tackle goes down in Patrick Paul, and season's done. And I wonder how he feels about Austin Jackson going down. I don't think the season's done because of that, but your right guard and your right tackle go down. I genuinely, when we talk about keys to the game, Tobin, genuinely believe running the football is so important for this team. And it's not a hot take. Everybody knows it's important. You want Devon Achane to get touches. I get that. But in order to help Tua kind of settle in, to open up those opportunities down the field, to just open up spots within the secondary to get the ball to your playmakers, it all starts with establishing the run. We know that. And if they can't create any separation, and this turns into Tua has to go out there playing from behind and take snaps and try to make plays, that's a dangerous situation when you've got two guys starting, protecting his blind side that probably shouldn't be starting.
Yeah, it's definitely a scary thing. There's no doubt about that. And this Austin Jackson thing has been quite frustrating because, respectfully, we thought we were done with the Teron Armstead issue, and it feels like we just got new Teron Armstead on our hands now. Like, that's the case with Austin Jackson. Yeah, it's deflating. Mike Vrabel, this is what he had to say this week going into this matchup against the Dolphins. Here's what the Pats head coach had to say.
Well, we're certainly going to have to make them earn it, and we're going to have to find ways to get the drive stopped, right? You either have to do what the Colts did, which was turn it over, or you're going to have to, make a play along the way and make them earn it. Pick and choose your spots to try to be, aggressive. And it's not just Tyreek. I mean, they got a fantastic, orchestrator. I mean, Tua does a fantastic job of knowing where he wants to go with the ball. Quick delivery. He's extremely accurate. And then the speed with Waddle and, Tyreek and the whole team. And then they have a fullback that has versatility, can play on the end line of scrimmage, motions, usually every big play, he's kind of in the run game. He's somewhere near it.
Yeah. By the way, too many big play attempts to Alec Ingold for my liking last week. Just as an aside, just that I mentioned him.
You know what? Always a great play when, you're down 14 points or whatever it was, 17 points, and you've turned the ball over 2 straight times. Let's run a little dig route for Alec Ingold in double coverage.
Love it.
Let's implement that more.
Yeah, but Tua, this was him this week on Mike Vrabel having his number. Here's what the Dolphins quarterback had to say about that.
Vrabel has we've played against them and we never beat their team. So coming into this week, we know what's at stake. I mean, he got his guys coached up really well, and that's an opportunity for us this Sunday.
Yeah, he had the loss very late in the season in 2021 where the Dolphins were still alive in the playoff hunt. And Tua just, they lost 34-3. Terrible. And then
tough.
And then the loss, of course, the Monday Night Meltdown, which really is in a lot of ways the funeral of this build. I mean, you can always just point back to that loss and everything that happened with that. But very, very frustrating. I mean, Tua was better in that game, but they did have two late drives that they just couldn't get anything going to respond after the meltdown happened. So, we'll see what this team can do today. We'll take a break. We got our actives and actives, and we'll get into to who the Dolphins have to step up in this matchup. Omar Kelly going to join us at the top of next hour as Gameday Uncensored rolls on after this. right, welcome back, everybody. It's game day, uncensored here on 104.3 FM, WQAM. Brendan Tobin here alongside Alejandro Solana, Brittany Rodriguez producing for us here today as the Dolphins are getting ready for the New England Patriots. We got banners flying around the stadium today asking Stephen Ross to fire Chris Greer, fire Mike McDaniel. It's all great. It's all gravy right now at Hard Rock. It's fantastic. It's what a disaster. What an absolute disaster going on right now for this team. Unbelievable with where we're at with this. Let us get to our actives and active Solana, which are brought to you by JM Lexus. JM Lexus has the best team in the business, a 4.8 Google rating with over 22,000 reviews and counting. JM Lexus, West Sample Road, Margate. Here's what we got for today. You got Jalen Wright. He is inactive. No surprise there. He was doubtful. Ethan Bonner, also not a surprise. He was not looking very likely going into this one. Storm Duck, we know he hurt his ankle last week. Inactive. Darren Waller. Inactive, dude.
He's not going to play this season, is he?
Mike McDaniel's comments about him were kind of strange. It kind of felt like he was at his wit's end with that, yeah?
It felt like he was setting the table, setting the entire situation up for, like, we're probably just not going to see him because of that hip injury. I hope I'm wrong, but even if we do, Tobin, it might be like inconsequential at that point, right? I mean, you needed production now. You might not need it week 10 whenever his hip heals. It felt to me like we're not getting Darren Waller this season.
Yeah, it didn't feel great. That's for sure. Taj Washington, he is inactive. So no Taj Washington this week. And then the other one that crept up, Benito Jones, Dolphins defensive tackle. He is inactive. He is out for this game. So the Dolphins, it was said that they're going to get a lot more from Zeke Biggers this week on the defensive line. You know, you'll see more from new Jordan Phillips, and we'll see what those guys can bring. Like, look, this is an interesting run for that young Dolphins defensive line that, yes, we were very impressed with early on in training camp and the preseason. But, Zach Sealer's got a lot of pups around him that he's got to try and carry along now that Benito's gone down. A lot of young guys right next to Zach Sealer to try and get them fortified and make an impact, because they did not have a big impact this last game.
And what's tough is, we're talking about how the secondary might be susceptible if Drake May is trying to pick them apart. Well, we'll see if he's capable. But without Benito Jones, look, you feel confident in those edge rushers getting to the quarterback at some point, Tobin. But without Benito Jones, your nose tackle, I mean, that does kind of allow the Patriots to feel like, hey, there might be an opportunity to run the football a little bit more. We know they have Ramondre Stevenson. I know they have another young, exciting running back that they feel they can either get the ball to him in space in Travion Henderson, and he can go make plays. But this is a Patriots team that last year pretty much relied on just Ramondre Stevenson running the football right up the middle of defenses, and they had at times success doing it. So it's going to be interesting to see how Vrabel plays this. But just another injury to kind of add to the list of things that allow opponents to kind of look at the Dolphins and say, yeah, they're vulnerable here. Let's try to expose them there.
I should also mention Quinn Ewers also inactive, but he is a emergency third quarterback. He's not out for injury reasons or performance. That's just the way it rolls right now, because our hopes, if Tua does go down, rely immediately on Zach Wilson. We're good, guys. It's all good for us. All right, let's bring the vibes together. Everybody's got to get ready for this one. It's fantastic. Darren Waller.
You know who else is suiting up for the Pats today, Tobin?
Your nemesis
friend. Yeah, our old friend, my arch nemesis, the TikToker himself, the TikTok teacher, Mac Hollins, who I'm sure will walk into the stadium shoeless, as he always does.
Of course. He only does. He only won't be shoeless if it's 35 or below, because apparently that's the cutoff for frostbite. I don't know.
I'm so sick of that guy. I had to block him. Like, I just stopped.
You blocked him?
On Instagram, I muted him. I unfollowed him, but because I engaged with his content so much, it just kept popping up, and I muted him because
he's a hate watch for you.
He was a hate watch. I'm sick of, like, I don't know what he's doing on TikTok. Like, he's making reels for little kids. Like, it's just weird. Let me teach you how to color. It's like, I know how to use a crayon, Mac. Everybody knows how to use a crayon, bro. You don't have to teach us how to do basic things we learned when we were little kids. Who is this content for, bro? Who? Nobody knows.
Today we learn about rubber bands.
I mean, this is how you put air into a tire. And like, what? Why are you teaching us this, Mac Hollins? Why? You have to have better things to do with your time.
Yeah, I'm not. I find those things annoying as well, especially the barefoot thing. It's like it's such a look at me move by him, and then to find out that he won't even do it at certain temperatures. Like he's like
coward.
I'm like, what? Like I thought it's like no matter what, like that's what you're gonna do. And he goes, 35, too much. Here it's actually even more dangerous. He might cook his feet on the pavement.
Somebody says Mac Hollins caught the Fitzy pass in Las Vegas. Or I guess at the time it was still Oakland. I don't know. Yeah, no, great play. That was fun. Guess what? That team didn't do anything either. Enough with Mac Hollins. I'm over it.
He was also really good at downing the punt. That was his thing. He was on special teams, like, and then
great special teams player.
He was a really good special teams player. But yes, he got a little bit. He got a little bit full of himself on the whole social media thing. I was just like, all right, we get you, dude.
Somebody else comments, Solana, you didn't know how to change your fiance's tire. Maybe it's for you. Yeah, but guess what? If I am in a pinch and I need to learn something quickly on the side of the road, you know what I'm not doing? Going to Mac Hollins' TikTok to find the tutorial. Like
his tutorial,
that's not what I'm doing.
But his tutorial wouldn't even be on how to change a tire. It would be on tires. Like that's how useless his TikToks are. They're just like, tires, where did they come from? And then like it'll go back to the first tire ever made. That's how Mac Hollins is work. It's not really instructional. It's more like useless information that you really weren't asking for.
You know that show, I think it's on maybe Discovery Channel or who knows, the Smithsonian Channel now, How It's Made. And literally, they take you into like factories. They show you how Fritos are made. They show you how a water bottle is made. Matt Collins is doing these types of videos, but he's just doing it from his garage with no resources. It's just like him and a water balloon. And he's like, here's how to put water into a balloon. Here's what you do with it. You throw it at somebody.
Today we learn about Easter eggs. What? All right. Where did the tradition come from? Why do they say bunnies can lay eggs?
He's going to catch 3 touchdowns today just because we're hating on him so much.
100%. Yeah, 100%. That's definitely the case.
Yeah.
Let's see. Hold on. The Dolphins have just tweeted out a traffic update. Just for everybody out there, the Dolphins have just tweeted, or the Hard Rock Stadium has just tweeted this out for anybody who's on the way. It says, due to police activity, all northbound lanes of the Turnpike are closed between the Golden Glades and the stadium exit. Please use other detours. State Road 826 west to Northwest 27th Ave, or I-95 north to US 441 north to Northwest 199th Street. So if you guys are headed to the stadium right now, don't use the Turnpike north from the Glades. Don't do that.
Here's another tweet from the Miami Dolphins. If you happen to be in your car driving to the stadium or you're at the stadium, don't look up.
Yeah.
Do not,
Ignore
whatever you do, do not look up.
Crazy. Carlos says, if we lose today, I'm going to start a petition to fire Greer and McDaniel. I think that's already happened, dude. It's already flying. I think that is the petition. The petition is the banner.
You missed the boat, Carlos.
Somebody beat you to the punch, dude. I'm sorry. Somebody more ambitious got there. Not that your opinion doesn't matter. It just feels like it's been put into action a little bit more.
Hey, Carlos, great idea, brother. Great idea, but you're about an hour too late on that idea, bro. The banner's flying above Hard Rock Stadium right now. First tailgate of the season, and you've got the Fire Greer, Fire McDaniel banner flying right above the home fans.
Excuse my ignorance on this, but does Stephen Ross come to the game via helicopter? Like, is he is he flying and then he just looks to his left and he sees the banner like right next to him? Or does he drive to the stadium like a normal person? Like, I don't know how it works for Stephen Ross.
I would put my life savings on him in a helicopter. You think Stephen Ross deals with traffic?
I don't think
when
so.
When you're that rich, you're worth billions. You think that message? Let's just say, Tobin, that message from Hard Rock Stadium and the Dolphins about traffic and dealing with I-95. Let's just say that doesn't get forwarded to Stephen Ross and his team. I feel pretty strongly about that.
Dude, like, can you call air traffic control and be like, can you look over to your left, please? And like the pilot's just waving at Stephen Ross. He's like, hey, check it out. And Stephen Ross is like, damn it. Can't even get away from it in the air. Just trying to live my life. You know, he's probably eating his Greek yogurt or whatever he's having for breakfast to get ready. And then just all of a sudden he's like choking on whatever granola he adds to it. He's just so upset.
I feel like he's like snacking on macaroons in a helicopter. It seems like an appropriate helicopter meal, just like pistachio macaroons. And he looks over it. Oh. Fire Greer? Fire
what?
McDaniel? What?
We'll take a break here on Game Day Uncensored. When we come back, Omar Kelly, Miami Dolphins columnist from the Miami Herald. He joins us each and every Game Day Uncensored. We will talk to Omar coming up next.
This hurricane season, keep it on 104.3 WQAM for hurricane coverage as we partner with CBS Ford to bring you the latest. Call 1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
It's another Game Day Uncensored.
It's the home opener for the Dolphins. The Patriots are here, and the Finns are in desperate need of a win. And it's only the second game of the season. So many questions following last week's shellacking by the Colts, and a lot of cranky and noisy Dolphins fans, most calling for big changes in the front office and the coaching staff. Tua says he blocks it out, but he admits it's tough to come down from a game like that.
I find after those kind of games, it's tough to sleep because there's a lot of the what ifs and I wish, or maybe if I did this versus that. But I would say the decompressing is I think after those kind of games, it's tough.
Tua knows he has to improve, and so does Mike McDaniel.
I saw quarterback play that was less than to be desired, which Tua absolutely knows. But he's the captain of the franchise quarterback, and everybody kind of fell victim to something similar. I also know that he's very much like most quarterbacks, to be honest, where you're putting a lot of work into something and your first time doing it for a collective 4 quarters in months, you're not at your best.
Get the tarot cards out, folks. It's Game Day Uncensored, the pregame show for real Miami football fans. Tobin, Solana, with Omar Kelly on FM 104.3 WQAM, Miami's sports leader.
Game Day Uncensored on FM 104.3 WQAM is brought to you by the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Get offers on select models now through September 2nd. Learn more at Lexus.com. By Edmore Sawgrass Buick GMC. Catch massive savings on over 22 acres of new Buick and GMCs at Edmore Sawgrass Buick GMC. Get backed by Morse and visit EdmoreSawgrassBuickGMC.com. And by JM Lexus. JM Lexus has the best team in the business. A 4.8 Google rating with over 22,000 reviews and counting. JM Lexus, West Sample Road, Margate.
And welcome back in, everybody. It's the final hour of Game Day Uncensored here on 104.3 FM WQAM as we take you guys up until this 1 o'clock kickoff between the Dolphins and Patriots. I'm going to venture on down to Davie and see my boy Leroy. We're going to watch this game together. He was hurt this week. I haven't seen like him. He's usually Mr. Perspective. Even he was frazzled by what he saw this past week. We got planes flying over Hard Rock Stadium. Fire Greer, fire McDaniel. It's hard times right now for the Miami Dolphins after that butt kicking that they took, and man, it is rough. It is rough right now. So we'll talk to a man who has been boots on the ground, and always joins us here on Game Day Uncensored. Omar Kelly, Miami Dolphins columnist from the Miami Herald. Omar, how are you?
I'm good, gentlemen. How are you guys doing?
We're doing good.
I'm fighting apathy just like the rest of the Dolphin fan base.
Yeah. Well, we asked that earlier, Omar. Like, do you feel like it's more apathy or anger right now? What do you interact with Dolphin fans probably more than anybody? What would you say is the overwhelming mood?
Apathy. Anger probably came at the end of the season when most people were bothered by the fact that Steve Ross decided to keep things status quo. They didn't really understand why, and I understand why, but I don't necessarily believe it was the right approach. But the way that the team responded in that first game against an opponent that nobody really thinks is really that good, for Mike McDaniel's sake, he better hope the Indianapolis Colts are the Minnesota Vikings of 2025, because the way they put their foot into behind, it was kind of embarrassing. But let's be real about this. That was Tua's second worst performance in his 6-year NFL career. Do we really expect a repeat of that? You know who he is as a quarterback. You know that generally is not his game. But we shall see. And the defense, that's expected to be the strength of the team. The pass rush is expected to be the strength of the team. Hopefully, young Patriots quarterback Drake May doesn't have all day to throw the ball.
Omar, look, I mean, you're in there. You get more of a vibe than I do. But I downplayed going into last week throughout training camp, and I think you and I have texted about this. I've downplayed the idea that McDaniel, lost respect in the locker room, that he can't implement the right culture to win because, from my perspective, maybe some of that is true. Maybe, this team could benefit more from a Dan Campbell type, a rah-rah type. But at the end of the day, in 2023, Omar, nobody had an issue with how McDaniel was coaching. In 2022, nobody had an issue with it. But
he hasn't changed one bit.
Right. But how could I not look at what happened last week and flat out, I believe the team just wasn't prepared and not feel like there's a legitimate lack of respect for the head coach after that, because the guys just not only seemed like they weren't prepared, but also kind of seemed like they quit in the middle of that game too. So has he lost the locker room? Is it fair to say that now?
I don't think it's fair to say that they quit. Number one, let's start there. I didn't see any quit. Also, keep in mind that Mike McDaniel only coaches one half of the team. Anthony Weaver, who is probably your next interim head coach if things go south, he coaches the other half of the team. Which half, in your opinion, had the more embarrassing performance? You have to really give that a deep dive in your mental space, because I could argue to you that the defense probably was worse than the offense, because the defense actually put together a historically bad performance. But that's on a totally different conversation, So, but my point is, even if Mike McDaniel had lost the team, you don't think these defensive players would want to show out for their next head coach, or want to lobby and advocate for, because that's clearly the only, breaking case of emergency glass that this team has for this season if things go south today. But you make a great point. And this is where I stand on this conversation. They are not as bad as they showed you against the Indianapolis Colts. I don't think that they don't have respect for Mike McDaniel. I have been here with Joe Philbin. I've been here when they quit on Adam Gase. I've been here in Cam Cameron. I know when a team does not believe in a coach and has quit on a coach. I can tell you that because I've lived through it 3, if not 4 times. I don't think that that's the case. However, they clearly weren't prepared for the Colts game. And this is part of my theory. I think they buckle to the pressure that they're facing this season, because they know if they don't do it, everybody is getting fired. And I think that's a huge burden to put on players, especially when they're mentally soft. And at this point, I can't tell you anything about the Dolphins other than the fact that I do believe they are mentally soft.
You had some interesting exchanges this week with some of the stars of the team. Tua, after the game, felt like he got in his feelings a little bit, which what I thought was a pretty innocuous question by you about his turnovers in bunches, which was statistically correct. What do you make of that? Why is Tua all of a sudden so turnover prone?
He's not turnover prone. I just think because he's not. He takes care of the ball probably better than 90% of the quarterbacks in the NFL. The only point that I'm trying to make is when you do start turning the ball over, you do it multiple times. And I have to think and conclude that you're pressing. You're trying to make something happen. Like in the play where he got his eggs scrambled in Buffalo, it was a 4th down play. He's trying to run for a touchdown to kind of get on the board. He starts pressing. Even Mike McDaniel has talked about this, getting Tua out of that negative space, because that's what happens when he starts making mistakes. He presses. I think he presses on it too much. Like they spent 2 years trying to rewire his brain and his thought process to not do that. And here we go in the game, and it's 2 of 3 games where he's turned the ball over 3 times. Going back to the Houston game, the question is, can you? And maybe it's not just you pressing, but it's probably the team. So it'll be interesting to see if this is something that, he can put. This loss is something, that last game is something he can put past him. And history says he usually does.
Oh, you buy anything do you wonder if the hits are starting to catch up with him at all? He's coming off another hip injury. Obviously, we know all the head stuff. Like, do you worry about him at all? Like, that he just didn't look as sharp. I mean, maybe pressing, but is it possible this stuff is catching up with him?
The only concern I really have about Tua is why are the deep passes not being thrown? Why is Tyreek now all of a sudden become a possession receiver when he's spent a decade, spent 9 years as the biggest playmaking receiver in the NFL and probably in NFL history? All of a sudden he's nobody. All of a sudden he's a 900-yard receiver. And, I know you guys are going to talk about, the conversation we had, because that's a genuine question I have. But the thing is, I know that they have chemistry issues, him and Tyreek. They have chemistry issues. I'm not going to sit here and downplay their friendship and communication issues, because it's there. It's been there. I heard about it before they even acknowledged it. But they gotta survive. They gotta eat off each other. So they gotta figure out a way to make this work. And even today, before this game, I'm thinking to myself, I'm watching Tua do his warm up and go through his stuff. And then now I just left and I was watching Tyreek go through his warm up and his stuff. How about y'all do that stuff together? How about y'all figure out a way to compromise and do it together?
It's a strange thing too, Omar, because they weren't like Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs. Like, even with them having success, we always saw the quibbling publicly. Like, these guys broke records together. It felt, Tyreek had Tua's back publicly. Like, I don't understand how this went awry. If there's something there,
they're two different people, and when they got to know each other, they realized how different they are. And Tyreek's going through a hard time right now. Like, Tyreek is always going through a hard time, and a lot of it is self-inflicted. So, nobody should feel sorry for him. But, I don't think the team is utilizing him properly. I think the too high shell safety look is an excuse. I think they certainly need to run the ball. Everything plays in. Like, even the right side of the offensive line is going to play into the fact that Tyreek is not going to get any deep passes today, or unless they set it up. It's just a hot mess. But how does it start? It starts with everybody connecting with one another, being transparent with one another, telling each other how we feel. Like, Tyreek, I would hope in that players only meeting be like, Tua, what the hell is up? Like, why are we not on the same wavelength like we used to be? Like, what do I need to do? And here's what you need to do. Like, and I addressed it with Tua this week. Like, even if teams are backing up their safeties 30 yards down the field, you got to at least throw it to make them try to respect it. And if they don't respect it, then, they're going to play you a completely different way. And unfortunately, nobody's respecting the deep pass anymore.
But Omar,
primarily because Tua's not throwing it.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair, Omar. But man, look, I struggle because it's obvious they don't mess with each other anymore. I mean, obviously, but I really struggle to accept the idea that because of their relationship deteriorating off the field, it's impacting Tua's either ability or Tua's decision making on the field with respect to throwing the ball to Tyreek Hill. I don't buy that. To me, it's more of a scheme issue. And look, I get what you're saying. At some point, he has to throw it deep. I get that. But to me, there's plays out there the other day, Omar, in the All-22 where Tua's just off. Like, he had, we talked about it earlier. He had Jalen Waddle wide open in the middle of the field, took a sack. He had Jalen Waddle, right, and Malik Washington running wide open towards the left sideline, and he just overthrew them. Part of it, yes, is maybe he has to earn that respect over the top again, but also part of it is he's just not connecting with his receivers, period. And the reality is, we all know the stat, Omar, 11-0 when Tyreek has 99 yards or more. Tua has to feel the pressure to win, and his best option to win is getting the ball to Tyreek Hill. So why would he avoid that? That is what I can't wrap my head around, because they have differences off the field with how they view life. Like, who cares? I have differences with guys I do radio with all the time. Guess what? The mics turn on, and I turn into Solana, the radio guy who has to do a show and has to entertain people. Period. End of story.
Yeah, but if your relationship's a little off, you don't necessarily communicate the way that you should. You don't necessarily have the heart to heart. Like you might have to have a heart to heart with Hockman and Crowder because they said some bull crap. But if your relationship's off, are you really going to confront them and be like, yo, you said some bull crap, hurt my feelings? Like, and that's the thing. We don't really know what's at the root of it. We know that there is something. I mean, they've all acknowledged that there is something. The question is, how do you fix it? How do you move past it? Because the reality is if you don't fix it, everybody's getting fired. Tariq's getting traded. Everybody's getting fired. It's all going south. Like if you you brought this up, like we can say Mike McDaniel hasn't lost the team. They lose to the Patriots today. Who can make that argument? Who in the right mind can make that argument? And I say this and I stand on it. They lose to the Patriots today. Mike McDaniel is not coaching this team in October. Like it's not going to happen. So and that's the thing. This team knows it. They feel that pressure. Can they handle that pressure? Can they respond for these coaches?
Speaking of pressure, you've been like the ghost of Christmas future with that backup offensive line. How's that going to go today?
Yeah. You're going to think romantically about Liam Eichenberg. You're just going to have these visions of riding that Eichenberg Express one more time.
We're dreaming of Eichenberg, man. Just dreaming. When are you coming back, Eichenberg?
You are going to romanticize about the good times you had with Liam,
which are zero.
You had some good times. He was out there.
No good times
in 2023 when it was respectable.
Oh,
he was out there.
Is Austin Jackson? Is he new to Ron Armstead? Like, is this where it's headed with him? With as far as injuries?
Like he came back with a broken toe, re-aggravated the toe. What do you want him to do, man? What do you want him to do?
I want a healthy offensive line, Omar. We said this last week. I like an idiot said 14 games. It didn't last 14 minutes.
14 games, Omar. He said over under on the health of the line. Don't miss 14 games. We got 5 snaps.
I mean, and you know why it's easy for me to predict what's going to happen? I have been here for 18 years, and how many of those years have you needed your 7th and 8th offensive lineman, if not 9th? All 18, all of them. Like we are where we are, man. Like, and I pray for Keon Smith, and I don't even think he's not even my biggest issue because I think Larry Borum is probably a worse player. Like, and the sad thing is you got Kendall Lamb, but Kendall Lamb is a very good left tackle. He's a mediocre right tackle. So I understand why they went with Larry Borum. But right now, Mike Vrabel is coming at those two dudes. They are gonna be coming, and they are gonna test these guys to see how much they can swim. They are going to throw them into the deep end of the pool, and somebody's gonna drown.
Oh my God,
Omar! Right before we go, because I know we're up against it, but speaking to that, Crowder all week was like, "Hey, I just want." He was saying that like the Dolphins have to be able to generate movement up front to establish the run game. He's like. Go line up, go bust through the defensive line's mouth, and get 5 yards at a carry. That's how they're going to win. And I was explaining to him, they want to do that, but they just can't. Like they genuinely just can't. Because we genuinely believe Tobin and I were in agreement. Running the football is imperative today for the Dolphins. Establish that run game. Things open up. Over the top might be an option too. But will they be able to? Can they run the football behind that offensive line?
Yes, it's imperative every week. Keep in mind, when you aren't able to run the ball, then Tua's play action passing game is closed off. So that means he's only doing shotgun stuff. Like that's very limiting. You have to keep the big plays are fed off play action, and they're better when you have a run game. Now, in fairness to what they did last week, they averaged 6.5 yards per carry, which is 3rd best in the NFL. Only Baltimore and Washington did better than them last week. Now, they only really had 10 carries, so I don't know how great of a measuring stick that was. but I know that they can run the ball to the left side. They get great surge on the left side, but behind that monster of a left tackle and Jonas Savaniah, who I will acknowledge to you is not doing that great, but it's okay. He's a rookie. This is what's going to happen. Now, the question is, can Keon and Larry Borom, and run game is supposed to be Larry Borom's strength, can Keon and Larry Borom create a surge on the right side? If they can keep themselves in good, favorable down and distance situations, they will do well as a team. If they can't run the ball and then these defenses can pin their ears back and hunt Keon Smith and Larry Borom, I don't even know if your quarterback's gonna walk away from this game healthy.
Oh man. Well, we got that to look forward to. Omar, enjoy the game. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, guys.
There you go. And Game Day Uncensored brought to you by Edmore Sawgrass Auto Mall. Shop massive savings on massive Chevy inventory, all backed by Moore's at Edmore Sawgrass Chevrolet. Visit EdmoreSawgrassChevrolet.com. Chevy, find new roads. Take a break, get to some porpoise props, and update all the happenings around the NFL, some news, some notes as the Dolphins get ready for the New England Patriots. Take a break. We're right back after this.
Every Miami Hurricane
Dolphins on FM 104.3 WQAM.
And welcome back, everybody. It is Game Day, Uncensored here on 104.3 FM, WQAM. Brendan Tobin and Alejandro Solana here with you as we close in on week 2 of the NFL season. Dolphins and Patriots, the home opener from Hard Rock Stadium. You feel good this week, Solana, about the big heat advantage the Dolphins will have, it being soupy out there. You know, do the Patriots melt a la Bills in 2023?
I mean, we got the Dolphins in all white. It's supposed to be a whiteout at Hard Rock Stadium, and the Patriots will be wearing their dark blue jerseys, sitting, hopefully cooking in the sun today, Tobin. So, look, I'll take any advantage that the Dolphins can get right now. But if you think about it, you're looking for reasons to have some high optimism. You got the Dolphins at home in good weather, in their all whites. That's when they shine, right? Like this is when they're supposed to play good football. Now, we said the exact same thing last week. It was like 70 degrees in Indy. They had the roof open, pristine weather, and it didn't work out. But now you're back home. Hopefully, the home crowd is behind you early on in this game. This has all the makings, the outside factors of a Dolphins victory at home, like they've done so many times with Tua versus the Patriots.
Let us get to our porpoise props here.
It's time for...
I don't know about you, but that looked like money.
Porpoise props.
Hopefully you didn't jinx us.
Props.
Oh, man. All right, Solana. We have returned to normalcy a little bit when it comes to the anytime touchdown is Julian Hill, who caught a 2-point conversion last week. Doesn't count.
In the end zone, he caught a pass in the end zone.
Doesn't count. That doesn't that wouldn't have hit. But his numbers are starting to go back up. He last week was somewhere around plus 400, which was just absolutely asinine by the Hard Rock app.
Yeah.
He is starting to go back up. He's at the plus 700 range right now. I'm tempted for old time's sake to throw something on it, just because at least we're getting back to normalcy a little bit. I acknowledge that, but they even have Tanner Connor above him now in anytime touchdowns after Tanner Connor's one catch yesterday. But Dolphins, Devon Achane, he's your favorite for an anytime touchdown, minus 170. Tyreek Hill at plus 130. Jalen Waddle at plus 180. Man, dude, we haven't talked much about Jalen Waddle, but that's another one where it's just like, this guy, what the hell? Like, when is this guy going to go out and break a game again?
Always injured, too. Got injured in the first half last week, caught a pass, and then hobbled. I know he came back in the game, but then on the injury report all week, Tobin, like, bro, it's week 2. You're missing 5 guys who were supposed to start already, and your second best weapon is already hobbled. I mean, it's deflating. It really is.
We have Ollie Gordon, who did not get much action. You think we'll see more Ollie Gordon today? He's plus 275 for an anytime touchdown.
The problem, I would love to, but the problem is if you're down early, I mean, it turns into Achane, out there and he's catching passes. So I hope we see more Ollie Gordon. It would mean good things for the Dolphins, especially their offense.
Yeah. Tanner Connor is plus 500. Then you got Jeff Wilson at plus 650. Julian Hill up to plus 750. They're teasing me, Solana. They're like, come on, come back to the light.
That one and Nick Westbrook-Akine is interesting too. Had one target in the game. Finally caught a pass late. I think it was Zach Wilson who completed the pass to him late in the game when it was over. You have to imagine they're gonna have was it Willie Gay who didn't get a snap in that game last week? And Anthony Weaver's like, yeah, we got to figure out how to get him on the field more. I imagine Mike McDaniel saying, hey, we got to figure out how to get Westbrook-Akine involved a little bit more, because if it's not going to be Tanner Connor and Julian Hill, you need a safety net somewhere, man. Throw the ball to your tallest receiver. Let's get him involved.
Tua Tagovailoa anytime touchdown is plus 800. I don't see that happening. I mean, unless he's getting his Carson Beck got going yesterday, though, for the Canes.
Shades of Carson Beck. You didn't feel inspired by the naked bootleg yesterday?
I loved it. He was fooling the CW cameraman like crazy yesterday.
Yeah, he got everybody. He got literally everybody on that play.
It was very impressive from him. Alec Ingold's plus 1,000. D. Eskridge, any chance D. Eskridge takes one to the house on a return?
Hey, man, there was only two people you could credit from the game last week, and that was Patrick Paul, left tackle, and D. Mother Bleepin' Eskridge, who looked good in the special teams. Like, that was the only bright spot in the entire game last week. Hey, Tobin, the odds are pretty decent. At some point, they'll take one back, right?
I think
At
so. It does. He's been looking good. Even in the preseason, he was looking good at that. Rushing yards, Tua's over under is 1.5 again. I know you love that. I know Hockman loves that.
You nailed it last week. Nailed it.
Ollie Gordon is 16.5 over under. He's got to get more than that this week, right?
Yeah, I hope so, man.
I
really
hope so.
I hope so.
I hope so. To record 100-yard rushing game, Devon Achane is plus 550. I just don't know. They mix him up too much. I'm not sure if I'm ready to go that route with him. On defense, Zach Sealer's the favorite to get a sack at plus 150. I'm going back to the well on my parlay of Zach Sealer and Malik Washington anytime touchdown, Solana. That's what I'm going with. Didn't hit for me last week, but I feel like Zach Sealer gets it going, and I like Malik Washington. I feel like if Tua and Tyreek can't get on the same page, he's got to get on the same page with somebody, and I feel like Malik Washington's right there for the taking.
So and I do like that, Tobin. I really do. I like Malik Washington. Here's my two plays. Tua to throw an interception is one interception, so just over a half is minus 145. Drake May to throw an interception, just one, is minus 135. I kind of like both these guys to throw an interception.
Really?
In this game. So you parlay both, and you get it to plus 190 on the Hard Rock Bet app. I think that's what I'm going with. A parlay, both guys to throw an interception. I hope Tua doesn't throw one, but he's kind of been, a little squirrely throwing lately, obviously. So I kind of like that. Both guys to throw an interception today.
Minka Fitzpatrick to get a pick today is plus 600. Jack Jones, the favorite, at plus 500 for the Dolphins if you want them to get a pick. If Fatu Melifonwu is plus 700, Rasul Douglas is plus 700 with Jordan Brooks, so I think only has one career interception. He's plus 1,100. So if you feel those Dolphins getting a sack, that's where you got to go to. But we'll get ready for the action coming on up. Game Day Uncensored brought to you by the Lexus TX. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer. We'll take a break, predict the game ball, give some final thoughts going into this game. Coming up next.
Every Miami Hurricanes football game can be heard here. FM 104.3.
Now, let's get back to the Game Day Uncensored postgame show on FM 104.3 WQAM, Miami's sports leader.
Man, they're writing us off already? They want to listen. I know I started off today late. I apologize for it. Brittany, you're already sending me to the postgame show?
That was not my doing. It literally says Game Day Uncensored pregame on here.
It's all good. Listen, I understand. I've produced long enough to know, Brittany, that we all fall victim to the wide orbit or whatever system we got and something being mislabeled. I have been there. Trust me.
Yeah.
What did you send me here, Solana, during the break?
Two things. First of all, if you're watching or listening to us and you don't have tickets, Marcel-Louis Jacques from ESPN covers the team. Tweeted out 30 minutes to kickoff, now 20 minutes to kickoff. Lower bowl tickets are going as low as $53 right now.
Wow.
On I think he's looking at Ticketmaster, and upper bowl tickets are as cheap as $26, $62 for club level. In other words, if you're close by to the stadium, you could get pretty cheap tickets for the game right now if you still want to go. And Omar Kelly tweets Dolphins owner Stephen Ross on the field like normal before the game.
All right. Well, that's good. I mean, I didn't expect him to no-show the game, but, we'll see. I am very curious. Omar says if they lose today, there's no shot McDaniels coaching in October. If they lose today, is there a chance he's immediately out? Like, we've seen Stephen Ross do some pretty drastic, surprising stuff before. Like he definitely on a random home game, especially home games when he's there, he can make some weird judges, even extensions. Like he gave Philbin an extension one time, like randomly in the middle of a season. So I'm very curious because that sounds like, is there going to be empty seats there today for a home opener? It sounds like that's his because I saw the Canes game yesterday. I was like, man, that's a really good Canes crowd yesterday. I was for a USF game, and I'm curious to see what that looks like. If there's going to be pockets of empty seats, it's not something that's been common, especially since they revamped Hard Rock. So we'll see, man. I mean, this is
Tobin for a home opener. I don't think that's the case. By the way, I just think people are probably tailgating. They list their tickets because why not? But for a home opener, for there to be pockets in the stadium, I mean, you see this a lot from fans, like, just don't show up. That'll show them. The reality is, like, this is more than a football game. It's a culture. It's a lifestyle. This is what people have done their entire life. They wake up and it's Sunday morning. They go to Dolphins games. That's not going to change, nor should it. Like, that's why we're doing what we do. We love this game. But, I mean, that would be shocking, right? Even for the owner to kind of look around and say, home opener? Like, what's going on here?
And that's the thing that's going to be interesting about today, right? Is like, look, I hope that they go out there and I hope that they kick the Patriots' ass because I hate Boston. But there's no ignorance. There's nowhere to hide anymore with this. It's the home opener. If they do show the displeasure, one, they've already shown you have fans raising multiple thousands of dollars to fly a Fire Greer, Fire McDaniel banner. Now you have the opportunity for fans to actually give an in-person reaction. If you let them down and it's negative, the owner can't bury his head in the sand with this stuff. So it's going to be a very interesting thing. And I know today's been one of those shows where, like, hey, we haven't really gotten to the matchups. We haven't really talked about the team and all the things. Like, I get it, guys. This isn't really one of those games I feel like it calls for that. I think that the Dolphins are really on what feels like a breaking point right here if they don't pull this off today. And they already have some big chinks in the armor when it comes to their backup offensive line. They're already back onto backup cornerbacks, their backup defensive linemen, their wide receivers may be banged up. Their quarterback is, I don't know what to make of them right now. So this feels very, very important. This feels like a game. This feels like a game that shouldn't be this important for a week 2, but it feels very, very important. And if it goes poorly, if they lose close, okay. I mean, that's not going to be great, obviously. But I'm talking if they do what they did last week in their building, I mean, I think all things are on the table. I don't think it's just some things. I think all things are on the table if that happens again.
100%. Tobin, Omar said something that resonated with me a little bit. He said if they lose this game, Mike McDaniel's not the coach in October. Like, he won't make it to October. And part of that is they lose this game. You know, you said short week. You're going to fire your coach Sunday before Thursday. Like, it doesn't make sense. But, you know, that is Omar saying, hey, they're not going to beat the Buffalo Bills. They lose this game. Like, he'll be gone. He'll be gone before October. I mean, this is, I hate to do this, and I want to be measured. I don't want to be hot takey, overreaction guy. But Tobin, they lose this game, like, the McDaniel era is over, man. I mean, it just honestly,
especially badly. Yeah, especially badly. I mean, I think you're right. I think you have to win it, but I think, you know, if they lose on a field goal and it's a good game and the offense, there's parameters on that. But yes, your overall point is correct. If they lose this and they lose it convincingly, then yes, it feels like you could start playing taps for it.
But Tobin, how we open up the show, you and I discussing, this was the game that at the very least you can hang your hat on. McDaniel wins this game.
For sure.
The best teams in the NFL, okay, fine. We've struggled under McDaniel and in the Tua era to beat those teams. But at the very least, you could always hang your hat on warm weather game at home, 1 p.m. against the Jets, the Patriots, the whoever, the bottom feeders of the NFL. You win this game at the very least. You didn't have to worry about these. If you can't even win these, you get blown out by Daniel Jones and you can't win this, then, that calls for, what are we doing here then?
Right.
How far off has this fallen? That's why this one, to me, is it for McDaniel. I'm not saying they have to fire him, they lose this game, but even if they lose a close one, Tobin, you can't beat these teams, then who can you beat? That's when it becomes dire, in my opinion. So, got to win this one, bro. Period. End of
Absolutely.
story.
Absolutely. We'll be back with Game Day Uncensored coming up on Thursday at 4:00 for Dolphins and Bills, and we'll see what we're reacting to on that one. Before we get out of here, Solana, let's get to our player to watch. Brought to you by the Lexus TX. Room for all your passions in 3 rows of luxurious comfort. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer. Dolphins win today. Who is getting the game ball, Solana?
I'm going to go, I'll give you 2 just because I think they go hand in hand, but I think it'll be Tyreek Hill. They win this game. All the noise all week, all the distractions, all the stuff in the locker room, all the media chatter. Who's being asked to step up more than anybody outside of Mike McDaniel? It's Tua Tagovailoa. And what do we all want to see? What is everybody asking for? I think in that building too, get the ball to Tyreek Hill. Get the ball to your best weapon. If the Dolphins win today, I think their passing attack comes alive again. And that involves Tua throwing to the best option on the team and in his career. That's to number 10. I think it's Tyreek Hill. I hope he has a big game today, Tobin.
Yeah, me too. I'm going to go on the other side of the ball. I'm going to go with a couple of guys on the front 7. I think are going to have big games. I'm going to go with Chop Robinson. Thought that he got a little embarrassed last week, especially getting called with the penalty. I think that this is an offensive line, that they can eat on a little bit. So I think that Chop Robinson's going to have a big game. I see the axe celebration busting out today. I think it can make an impact. Get after Drake May. I think Zach Sealer, has a big bounce back performance. Getting called out by Mike McDaniel, didn't really get into that. I didn't love that. It felt a little phony from Mike McDaniel for me. Like, I know why he did it. He did it to say, look at me, I'm going to call out the most accountable guy. But that's exactly why he did it. It felt like he knew there were going to be no ramifications from it because Zach Sealer is a man's man, and he doesn't get bothered by things like that. But I do think even with it being a little bit orchestrated, I feel like Zach Sealer call out being that or not, I feel like Zach Sealer bounces back. So I'm going to go the other side of the football because I just trust that side of the football more, even with them having a bad performance last week. I don't know what to make of the offense, especially with the offensive line issues. So that's why I'm going to go with those 2 guys. I feel like that tandem will get it going for Miami today.
All right. I hope so, man. I hope so. All these things, they pan out what we both just described. The Dolphins should win this game, Tobin. They should.
Hope so. Yeah, absolutely. Brittany, you have any thoughts on who you think should get the game ball if the Dolphins are able to pull this off?
I agree with you on the defense, that line there. I need them to get after the quarterback. So I'm hoping that they have a big game. And I think you're going to see some good stuff from Devon Achane. he was the only person that seemed inspired last week. So I really, I think he's going to have a big game and maybe a couple touchdowns, hopefully.
I like that. You have him in fantasy?
No, I don't.
Okay. Before we get out of here, 1 o'clock matchups today. Solana, anything that wets your whistle in the early goings? You got Jags, Bengals, Giants, Cowboys, Bears, Lions, Rams, Titans, 49ers. 49ers Saints with Mac Jones. Oof, never mind. Bills, Jets, Seahawks, Steelers, and then we got Browns, Ravens. Any of those early games get you going?
Yeah, so Bills, Jets, just because are the Jets actually better than we all thought they were? Is Justin Fields legit? Like, how's that looking? Are the Jets really going to be the second or third best team in this division? Today's that test. And then Steelers, Seahawks, because Tobin, are the Steelers good? Like, is that defense vulnerable? And is Aaron Rodgers actually back, or did he just have to kind of show some people up in New York and he'll regress? Those two are very, very intriguing to me. And then obviously later on today, Jalen Hurts going up against Taylor Swift's boyfriend again, the Super Bowl rematch. Like, sign me up. I'm down. Can't wait for that one.
Yeah, can't wait for that one. I'll always keep an eye on Cam Ward, see what he's going to do. You know what happened in the Cam Ward game that drove me nuts? I hate the virtual measurement, man. They brought that out. That was the only game that I saw it in yet that week.
Yeah.
It sucks. It's like you can't. You like, what are we doing? We're all just sitting around here and they got to look at the Jumbotron like a bunch of idiots. And it's just, it was such a huge moment for the Titans. They ended up losing anyway, but it was such a huge moment to try and get back in that game. And they're just like, let's all look and reveal if you guys did it. What?
There's no excitement. This whole system started with Hawkeye in tennis. At the very least in tennis, there's like a Zoom aspect to it where everybody together watches the Zoom and you go in. Like, there's almost just like it builds up to something.
Right.
This doesn't build up to anything because they just show you like, all right, let's wait. And then they just show it to you on the big screen and that's it. Like, here's the decision. There's no build up to anything. It
sucks.
Yeah.
And like in tennis, I get tennis has to move. Like I'm sure that happens. You're a more tennis fan than I, but it has to move. Like what? How many measurements do you have in a game? 2 at the most.
Right.
Get the chain out there.
Ridiculous. They got to do something. They bring have the chains out there. Like they've got to fluff it up a little bit. They've got to make it more theatric to get us all to get us all engaged with it, because they replace like a vital part of the game and they were just like, here, we're just replacing it. Take it. No, give us something, NFL. Give us something, Goodell. Come on.
Well, that is our show, everybody. Enjoy the football, hopefully. Alex Dono will bring you Game Day Uncensored on 104.3 FM, WQAM at 4 p.m. today. So bring your problems to him, not us. We'll be back on Thursday at 4 o'clock to get you ready for Dolphins and Bills. And, of course, we'll both be on tomorrow, 10 a.m. to 2 for myself and Leroy Horde. Solana will be on with Hogman and Crowder starting at 2. And hopefully it'll be a much happier Monday.
Yep.
And enjoy the football, everybody. We'll talk to you next time.
And that's Game Day Uncensored for this week. The Dolphins and